is tonight. Let me pull y'all up a little bit. Get my shake all around, give y'all seasick right quick. That's what we'll do. Now let me see if I can find everybody on the iPad. Brody had run it completely down watching something the other night. I took over the TV when I got home. I'll be honest with y'all, I'm about tired. About tired. May not get very many folks on tonight. Logan, hey buddy, Ron from Iowa. We gotta turn this volume down. It'll be echoing through y'all. Oh, we decided that we would just do this tonight. I got my, this is the cord and charger. I had the charger with me the last night. This is one of the cords I wished I'd have had in the swamp. But I'll be honest with y'all, it really was a blessing in disguise. Because I got in that old hammock and just laid back and watched the moon shine right down through the leaves on them trees and listened to the bullfrogs and the hoot owl choir. Man, well, there was a bunch of hoot owls in that swamp. Uncle Sasquatch, Dave, Michigan Prepper, Chance Williams. Good to see all of you on here tonight. I decided to do this tonight. I know several people come in and oh, just take off and have family time, but honest to God, y'all, we do have plenty of family time here. I mean, we spend most of the night sitting around together. We spend a lot of the days, a lot of morning time we spend in the house drinking coffee and together, so. And we do a lot of stuff. Me and my wife, we spend a lot of time together through the day when we go deliver powder. Like when I come out of the swamp yesterday and got all the fish cleaned, we loaded up the truck and went and took some pottery not far to another town right here close. Together road, you know. So family time is not an issue here yet. Now, it could get there at some point in life, but right now all is well. So it is nothing to take a few hours to turn the camera on and sit here and do something that we enjoy. So I wanted to do it because I don't know what service is going to be like. So for those of you that don't know, I'll be leaving in the morning, headed to Smith Lake in Alabama. And we're going to go over there. My sister and her husband's coming. My brother and his wife's coming. And my mom and dad are riding with us. We're going to pull a boat over there. So I don't know exactly what all we're going to do over there. I don't know how much service is at this location. A lot of times when you get in this hill country, and Smith Lake is kind of in the hills, you know, that lake is in between a bunch of hills, there may not be any phone signal at all over there. I don't have no idea. So if for some reason you don't see any more videos from me till like next Monday, that is why. I don't know about just in time. I probably should have filmed it today and uploaded it and had it all ready where I could have gotten service and turned it on or either scheduled it to come on. And I may go film it tonight in the shed, or I don't know. We'll figure something out. I may film it in the morning before I leave because I've already got some thoughts in mind. And I don't really want to skip out on just in time. It is one of the most important things that I do right now. It stresses me out a lot, but I don't want to skimp on it. I'd rather cut out some of the other stuff than that because I think I am helping some people. I know I am reaching some people because I get some. I'm making ripples in the little lake, I guess, in the ocean, maybe some small ripples. Because I get some negative feedback at times. So I know when people kind of get rubbed the wrong way, and they kind of, what it is, they will disagree with what you're teaching, but they can't find proof that you're wrong, so they look for little things then to gripe about and use that for an excuse. And usually they'll leave some negative comment. And I ain't talking about just random people, you get that, but we're talking about people that have followed you for a while, commented on every video, and all of a sudden they'll comment something negative on Just in Time, and then you won't see them comment no more. You know, they quit watching it. And it's because all of a sudden they disagreed with you, and they just turn it off instead of letting truth change them. They just turn it off. So that is one of the series I ain't willing to just say, oh, well, I ain't going to worry about it, because I do worry about it. So Randall Ross, Jamie Johnston, that swamp was fun, Jamie. I had a good time down there. Brenda Bryant, John Thomas, Independent Thinker, Donnie Hill, Daniel. Well, Independent Thinker, meet me there. I am already going to be doing a baptizing over there somewhere. Already scheduled. So if you want to be baptized, I would be more than thrilled to baptize you over there. Sure would. Email me at justinpeden@gmail.com. I'll get some contact information where we can get up with one another, or you can message me on Facebook if you're on there. I realize a lot of y'all are not on Facebook. I commend you for that. But if you are, you can message me on that. But if not, email me, and I'll get up with you somehow. Bubby Bryan from Kentucky. We got people all over in the house. Yes, Miss Brenda, I will be safe, and I know y'all all be here. I'll be honest with y'all, I've probably got one of the greatest group of people following me that there is on YouTube. Jay Copeland, Mike Reed, good to see you tonight, my friend. Mickey, love the solo camping. That solo camping, Independent Thinker, yeah, it's Spirit of the Outdoors Facebook page. Go follow it. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Kurt Culbertson, Pennsylvania, Miss Cindy Evans, West Virginia checking in. But Mickey said, love the solo camping. I really do too. I wish I could have took Roscoe with me. Roscoe, y'all, he didn't like me leaving. And I've got to leave Roscoe here for the next 4 days while we gone. I don't like that at all. But we're staying at an Airbnb over there that's on the lake, and whole family staying there together. I can't take Roscoe. Roscoe's too nervous, and other people's houses, it's not polite to just barge in with dogs. I mean, I know he's like family to me, like my young'un, really. But we've got a lady coming by to check on him. She'll be in and out every day, and letting them out to use the bathroom a couple times a day. Stop by. We got good people around here. Neighbors that'll watch out for us, watch over our place. I'm not afraid to walk off and worried about thieves toting everything off. I've got a good neighborhood that watches closely of what goes on here. So, and with all the cameras and everything else, you know, but it is what it is. Roscoe will be all right. Physically. Now, he may not emotionally be all right. Y'all, when I got back home from the swamp, he cut little diodos, run in circles, and flopped around and kicked and scratched and whimpered and whined and just done everything but jumping jacks. And Michelle said that she said that he whined all night long. We come in the back door. I was out here loading up stuff. We went in this back door right here, and he followed me in the house. He knew I was loading up to go to the swamp. I mean, he just knows when that canoe goes on there and fishing poles go in there, and he knew what was up. And I slipped around and went out the side door and got on the buggy and left it. She said when that buggy cranked up and started off, she said his ears perked up. And when he heard the buggy go down the driveway, she said he dropped his head. and went to whining. She said he whimpered all night long. So he don't like me leaving him, and I don't like leaving. So I'm gonna have to get me a hammock that's big enough that he can sleep in there with me. I worry about his toenails poking in there, but now he is. Every time I've slept on the ground, he slept in the sleeping bag with me. He does good for the most part. He's one of them in and out of the cover all night dogs. He wants to go to the bottom of the cover under everything and sleep, and then he gets hot and he wants to come out. Then he gets cold and wants to go back under. So he's back and forth all night. And so I don't know how he would do in a hammock. The hammock I've got, that was a Temu hammock I slept in. It worked good, y'all. I know a lot of people question a lot of the Temu stuff. And like I've said 200 times already about Temu, there's some good stuff on there and there's some junk on there. Probably more junk than good stuff, but if you look at individual products, you'll figure out that some of them are the same products that have a name brand, well, a good name brand stamped on them in other companies. It is the same product made in the same factory, it ain't got a name on it. So you have to look at each individual product really closely if you're going to buy on there and be successful. Otherwise, it's like a gambling deal. You buy some of it and some of it's good and some of it ain't. Most of the electronic type stuff is pretty well junk, but anyway, we're going to figure out where he can stay in the hammock because we're going to try to do some more trips down there. I want to do some where I really don't fish very much. Just go down there and spend the night and may do some somewhere around here, some other places that we can drive up and just focus on the cooking and camping and take Brody. I've got another hammock with a bug net that works good. And here, y'all, it's hot enough right now. I mean, like right now, it's still 90 degrees out here. Well, it's 80 something, about 85 degrees out here right now. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, literally a hammock, and I put that sleeping pad in there so it blocks anything under you as far as cold convection on the bottom side. I was in a sleeping bag, but I really opened it up and kind of laid on top of most of it, and that was it. I mean, the bug net over me, and it was kind of warm, actually. I wouldn't like too hot. On over in the summer now, it can get too hot at night to just sleep out, so I think I could get him figured out where he could sleep in the hammock, so we will see. Sean Hawkins asked, what are we cooking tonight? Michelle made quesadillas. We somewhat do meal planning, not really. We kind of figure out what we're going to have for supper every night. Usually Friday nights, I like to cook out here. Being we leaving, she was cooking quesadillas. That way you can kind of thaw out what you're going to cook for the week. Ain't rambling around trying to figure it out. We know Wednesday nights we have church, so we always try to plan something quick and easy that we ain't got a slave in the kitchen for, either one of us. And she cooks most nights. I like to cook on the weekends, and or either when I've got something that I'm wanting to film cooking. So she cooked tonight. We done ate supper. I am full as a tick. I done ate a big old bowl of ice cream this afternoon. We've been prepping to go over yonder. So she cleaned the inside of the truck out. I washed the outside, and Brody helped me. We had to go run our traps. Had some unexpected catches. Caught a big old loggerhead turtle in one of our traps down there, a beaver trap. Something else we did. I don't remember what else I did today. I had something else I had to do. One, I had to unload all that stuff from camping. I didn't unload it yesterday. I come in tired, and then we had church last night, so I just we went and delivered that pottery and come back. I didn't have time to unload it. I cleaned all the fish yesterday, so I've got them in the refrigerator. We're taking them with us over yonder to cook tomorrow night over there. So Huckleberry Brody is down at my mama and them's right now. My brother's grandkids are down there, so he's down there playing with those boys. And they having those 3 boys down there. They ain't no telling what they dismantling, but he'll be back up here shortly. Jeff, how are you, bud? Miss Cindy, yeah, Brody is definitely like a youngin. And I'm gonna tell you, I think about as much of him as I do most people I know. I mean, I like people. I ain't saying I don't like people, but I mean, if I had to choose between him and a lot of people, I'd choose him hands down. I mean, we done got attached to one another, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. When you lose an animal like that, it hurts. I mean, it hurts like losing a youngin'. And people, I've seen people, laugh at somebody, oh, it's just a dog. They be tore up about losing an animal. It ain't just a dog. It ain't. It really ain't. Those animals have helped get through some dark times. The last dog that we lost was a bulldog that I raised in the house, and he was a good dog. I'm talking about a good pit bull. Didn't nobody mess with us, but now he didn't bother nobody. He didn't go around trying to kill everything. He didn't start no fights. But now armadillo, he made short work out of armadillo of a possum if it come around here. So he patrolled and he stayed outside a lot. Now he stayed in the house, but he didn't try to get in the bed. Roscoe wants in the bed. He ain't gonna sleep nowhere but in the bed with me. And but the bulldog, he stayed with me through some dark times of my life, and I could see where they use them for PTSD and these kind of people that's experienced trauma and need a companion. That pit bull was with me through some hard times, and when I lost him, I was tore up for a day or two. I'm talking about tore up. So I get it. But now I ain't one of them people that's like, I ain't never owning another dog after I lose this. When this one's gone, I ain't having another one. I want another just as fast as I can, get one, because that's the only way to help get over the other one. Otherwise, you're gonna sit there and think about that one that you buried from now on, and that ain't good. I mean, it's sad, but you got to move on in life, and that's with anything. But And dogs, they loyal. It don't matter what you do, they gonna come back to you. They especially if you good to them. But anyway, I love my dog. Now he is my buddy. He'll ride in that canoe or the boat. Don't matter. We took him to Tom Bigby, and he was content in that boat. He didn't like that campground over there much. Modern Outdoors, how are you tonight? Cal, well, you no good, bud. I'm going back. I'm trying to come down through the comments. Yeah, I turned a gruntle loose. I'll be honest with you, it breaks my heart to waste one. So when I knew I had more fish than I can eat, and you can't keep gruntle, you can't leave them in that cooler and bring them home. And then I knew today I wasn't on cooking. I knew last night I couldn't cook it. So it would have been foolish for me to even attempted to clean it. It would have ruined. So, I mean, what else was it to do but put him back? I ain't one of them people that's like, let's kill it, just cause we got it, we're gonna keep it. I weighed him, got what I wanted out of him, put him on camera, made him famous, and he don't even know he's a celebrity now. He's swimming around in the Pearl River again. And I might get to catch him next year when he gains another pound or two. You know what I mean? Never know. Sean Hawkins, we used to do some potluck stuff on Wednesday night, and everybody decided it was too much of a hassle, and they cut it out. B Cloud, I do. Grieving a person and a dog ain't a lot of difference. In fact, I like my dog more than I like a lot of folks. I mean, it ain't like losing one of your young'uns or your spouse or but it ain't far behind it. It's like losing a good friend. I can tell you that. Nighthawk Farms, Nancy Pierce, Homestead Princess, Lloyd Morris. Cal, all you gotta do is head down there to the swamp and drop a hook in the water. It'll be just as wet as anybody else's. You just and I say that as a joke, but really and truly, you just have to throw stuff down and go fishing. There ain't never a convenient time. You ain't never got enough times. There'll never be a time where, well, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm gonna, and it's that way, y'all, with all of life. If you're gonna enjoy any of it, you got to throw everything else down and go, because there's always gonna be work to do. There's always gonna be tasks needing done. There's always gonna be stuff, and you always gonna be thinking, well, somebody just gonna think I don't do nothing. You got to not worry about all that. This is about you. And if you want to go fishing, the only way you ever gonna go is to just throw everything down and go, and that's with whatever you want to do. Now, I mean, you can't just forsake all of responsibilities and be a bum, obviously, but I see a lot of people that's killing themselves to try to make money and make ends meet and make all, and when you die, all that stuff's still gonna be there to be done. Ain't gonna change. But the memories you make and the good times you had will stick with you. Lord Morris, I got in that brush top and found them crappie down there. Now, they wasn't none of them very big, which I never find big crappie in that swamp. I mean, if I find a 12-inch crappie down there, that's a good crappie. And there's some places that they there, so... I was tickled to get on them and find them, and I mean, I was vertical jigging with a 4-foot pole, sticking it up in that brush top. They had to tangle it around the limbs. Jason McAllister, you better focus on what you doing then. John Thomas, I thought they'd be on the bed too, and they probably are, but I never could find them. They like that swift water, and they're usually somewhere around it. But for some reason, I never could really just find a good brim bed. And I'm sure I just didn't get in the right spot. I covered a couple of miles of water. You would think I would have run up on one at some point, and I could have missed it. I mean, I could have just not hit the right. Usually, if you find one, it'll be there year after year after year. My problem is I've not done a lot of brim fishing in quite a number of years. I've went and done like I did here, just fish here, there, and yonder, and catch enough to come home and be happy about it. I've done that a lot of times, but as far as just hey, brim fishing is my thing. I know where some good crappie holes are, but I can't sit here and just tell you I know where a lot of brims beds are. JL327, the skag worked real good. Now, I ain't talking about like you just turn loose everything and it just goes straight forever. And that ain't really what I wanted, because I want to be able to paddle and hook that paddle down in the water and still turn around and do what I want. I just wanted to where when I let go, it didn't immediately just go to spinning around, and it did not do that. So, success. For what I wanted, success. Now, is it going to be ideal for everybody and what everybody is expecting out of one? Probably not. I'm loading that green kayak up on the boat to take over to Smith Lake with us, because my sister's got 2 kayaks. They're bringing, I think there's some paddle boards and kayaks over there. I had thought about putting that big fin on it, and it's got a string and all where you tie the fin of the back, so if something bumps it and knocks it out, you can get out, flip it over, and put it back in there. You just got it tied to a string to where, but the problem is if you're running over much stuff, the string is all pull out, and that's why I didn't want it on the canoe. So I don't know. I'm gonna experiment with it. I may put it on that kayak and see how it does, but that skag worked real good. In fact, 2 like that on the kayak would probably be ideal. Would probably be the way to go. I was worried about it hanging on logs, but it's raised up enough in the back that if the belly of the canoe bumps a log, it hits it, it'll bounce over it. So I did not one time get hung on anything, And that was what I was concerned about the most. So I call it a success. I think it'll do what I wanted to do. Mola and I never did look for any bearings, to be honest with you. And I probably won't think about looking for bearings until I um, need some. We always ran, when we was doing diesel mechanic work, them Timken bearings. That's what we put in all the big trucks. Now, I don't know if they make bearings for smaller equipment. I mean, probably they do. The next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to replace that front universal joint again. I went to grease it the other day, and the alamite has got slung out of it. It's went amiss, so I couldn't grease it. And it's already got some slack in there, so probably before fall, gonna pull it out, put another one. I'm gonna probably buy the most expensive universal joint I can find for the front of it, because I'm tired of working on it. Charlie Phillips, I know, but my house, the end of my house has a big Alabama A on it. I had thought about taking it down, really and truly, because I don't even watch football anymore. But now, if I do watch it, I'm still gonna pull for the Tide. It ain't like I'm mad at them. I ain't on pull for them no more. It ain't that way. It just football's not my number one thing no more. It used to be. I used to love it, but now I mean, I'm still gonna say I'm an Alabama fan. Okay, I'll always be an Alabama fan, but it ain't like. You know, I mean, if they play and I got away. In fact, I ain't watched a game in like 2 years. They won a national championship that I never watched. So, it just don't excite me no more. SKF. I'll have to write that down and see if I can remember that. Frank Litt said, curious about winter down there. Winter gets cold here. The temps don't drop down. If we get down in the upper teens, that's cold for us at night. I have seen it get in single digits a time or two in my life, a couple of different times, not very often. The thing that we deal with is the humidity that we have here feels cold. I mean, like the air feels really cold. It ain't like a dry cold. So I don't know how to explain that. It's one of them things you just kind of have to experience. But now it don't get and that don't never like that for a long period of time. I mean, it don't get cold here till right about Christmas. Sometimes it ain't even cold at Christmas. I have shot fireworks Christmas Eve in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, but now I have been out there where your fingers froze and went numb. So it's somewhere around Christmas. We get our first cool spell around Halloween, somewhere along in there, and then November, sometime over in November, it'll start frosting and getting cool and get really good weather. And then late Christmas it gets cold. I mean, late December, close to Christmas, it gets cold. And then it's cold all through January, and then usually by February it starts warming back up here. So we don't have a long, like people up north that had snow on the ground here a few weeks ago. We don't. I mean, we done way over into hot weather now. So winters get cold, but they short. Lord Moore said, "Go Vols." I knew he was a Tennessee fan. B. Klein asked if I ever fished with a fly rod. I have never. Now, my grandpa loved it and did a lot of it. And I've actually got one of his old fly rods that he used. It put up. I probably won't never fish with it. It's got a lot of sentimental value to me. He was good at it. I don't know what he fished with as far as flies. But now he would find them brim beds. He knew where they was at. Of course, back in them days, everybody just walked to the swamp. So they knew right what trail to go to, right what hole they wanted to fish. And they fished it year after year after year, so they knew where them brim beds were back then. But it wasn't overfished. Like, there wasn't this many people fishing it. Now, there's probably, I mean, I don't know how to, it ain't just like a mob of people down there, but there's people down there fishing nearly every day. So, to sit there and say, well, these fish ain't, they get pressured. So, if there's a brim bed and there's several people knows where it's at, it wouldn't take long through the summer for it to get, the fish get pulled out of it. I mean, unless there's, just thousands of them in there. A couple of hundred could be caught in a weekend. So, we don't have any trout here in Modern Outdoors. I wish we did. Our water is too muddy down here. Me and Kyle don't know nothing about no trout. Frank said it is free. PA is freezing around 12 to 20 degrees at least 2 months. Like I said last weekend, I would love to have like a place up north that I could leave and go up there over in the fall. Well, really leave and go up there in the late summer when I done had enough of hot here. Go up there and stay until I've had enough of cold up there and leave and come back down here. If I could do that, that would be ideal. But there's no way to have the best of both worlds without being able to do a lot of traveling, and somebody has to work. It's hard to work two different parts of the country, especially at your leisure. Homestead Princess, I planted corn yesterday. I come in, that's one of the other things that I did. When I got in late yesterday evening from delivering, I got on the tractor and put my fertilizer out, and then I put fertilizer out by hand, and I got on the tractor and put all the rows in there, and I planted all of my corn. Planted 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows of corn, that whole back field. And while I was down there planting it, Brody was in the blackberry vine. He rode his little Power Wheels four-wheeler over in there. And he stood there, I know, for 30 minutes eating blackberries. So they just starting to get ripe here. Now, we've been eating plums. I got one plum tree that is loaded down right here by the chicken pens. We've been eating plums pretty regular. I sprayed them back sometimes, so some of them still got worms. I tried not to just soak it down with poison. I don't like the poison, but I really can't find a good way around it. I've tried a lot of this natural stuff, and it just don't seem to work, It might help a little, but still. So, my peach tree over here, I've got a couple of peaches, but the worms all in all the peaches, so I didn't spray them at all. I didn't figure there was enough fruit to worry about. I really didn't figure I was going to get any of the fruit. I figured the birds was going to clean it out no more than they was, which I really had done accepted. That way that the tree could grow and do its thing, and I just wasn't going to worry about it and fight it. Because it wasn't like it was going to make enough for me to really do anything with. But I did get to eat a peach, and there's another one in there on the counter, so I won that battle in my opinion. But the blackberries are getting ready. Kyle, I actually enjoy the cold weather, but on my terms, That's like snow. I wouldn't care if it snowed here more. That's one of the things I enjoy is some snow. But I don't have to drive to work in it every day. You see, I can walk down to my little pottery shop, build a fire in there, and it can snow knee deep. I don't care. It's because of the way I've set my life up. People that have to go to work at at a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 or 7 to 5 or whatever you working, I can see them. Well, I don't know. I get it, but the cold don't bother me, but I don't want it till over in the middle of the summer. I'm at March. I'm ready to start disking up my garden. The snow's got to be gone. It's got to be warmed up. I'm done with it. I don't want winter till the middle of May. Just ain't what I'm looking for. Keith, I can tell you, I see what you mean on that. And we're overrun with people, and it's gonna get worse. I mean, and people ain't gonna take care of nothing. The average people, it's about what all can I kill, what all can I catch. Let me take a picture of it, put it on Facebook. Now I really don't want to clean all this. Does anybody else want it? And then they throwed all their trash down while they was there, and no management to them at all. That's why I say, as far as politics, I'm pretty well middle of the road. I want to use all our resources, but I want to use them wisely. I want to take care of what we got. I don't want to rape it and just like wipe everything out and not care. I mean, I just and I'm talking about the stuff I can see. My rivers. I want to be able to fish. I don't want to waste I don't want to cut every tree they are down because I like to squirrel hunt. I like to, It's just my way of thinking. But there ain't nothing you can do about it. It's gonna ain't much you're gonna be able to do to change because somebody sees $1 in something, they gonna get it. Huckleberry, as far as I know, we can shoot a deer in the garden legally. Now, if it is not paperwork legal, most game wardens here garden themselves, or at least have family like grandpas and mamas and daddies that did, and they not gonna say nothing. Now, if you just out riding around shooting deer, most of the problem with people night hunting here is trying to kill that big buck that they want to brag about, and they can't do it legally, so they get a light at night and shoot it. And that's what they battle as far as night hunting. You trying to protect your crop. I don't personally know of a game warden that if somebody called them and told them that they'd even get out of the bed and come to write you a ticket for it. I really don't. Now they might be one of these young boys surprise me, but he'd have to write me the ticket before I believed that he would. But I do think they have got it written in there where it is legal to shoot one to get them out of your garden. Because here's the thing, usually once you kill one, the rest of them won't come back. They get the picture, I think, but pure vanilla as a mosquito. I have not. I have not tried vanilla. I really had never heard of vanilla. I use beautyberry and mint as a plant. Works pretty good. Make a bug dope. Now, what's his name? Nesmith, he had pennyroyal and 2 or 3 other things in with his, and I think pine pitch maybe, or pine tar, and he mixed up some stuff and used it. Swore it worked, but now he lathered up with it and didn't wash it off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So bugs ain't bad on them kind of people anyway. Randy Beeson, good evening. L Square, thank you. A grinnell and a snakehead's 2 different fish. Now they are somewhat similar, but they are 2 totally different species. The CWD has not made its way this far south yet. I'm sure it'll be here in a year or 2. Now, if it has been recorded, if it's been recorded here, I don't know about it. it could quite possibly be a case or two here, but the average person I know, if they killed a deer and seen that it was sick, they would never call and report it. I really don't. I'm sure there's some people that would, but if you call and report chronic wasting disease on a deer you've killed on your property, you're guaranteed to have foot pads and footprints all over your property before it's said and done. There's no way because of that, there's no way I'd tell him I'd throw him in a hole and say, I ain't eating him. And I'm wrong probably for thinking like that, but when you get the government on your property looking for something, you wouldn't be able to hunt for years. You don't want to do that, I can promise you. Larry Alexander, I have heard that vanilla works good on. I heard a man put it in a spray bottle and misted his coon can traps. I think he put marshmallows or he put something down in there and he squirted them with that vanilla, and he said the coons couldn't resist it. So I don't know about other animals, but I have heard that it might attract deer. I don't know, but I have heard that coons are attracted to it. I have not personally done it, so I don't know. Don't know. Dakota Bend, it has a lot to do with what you're fishing for. If you're going for grinnell or bowfin, you've never fished for them, number one bait is cut bait. Small brim, so any kind of small fish, cut him up in pieces, put it on a hook, that's your number one bait. Now they feed on some live minnows, they like shad, they like little perch, they like minnows, they like crawfish. But I catch them with like plastic lizards, worms on a bass reel. But brim, you want worms or crickets. Best bait. If you go in crappie fishing, minnows are your go-to bait. Then a lot of people fish with jigs, and then there's 1,000 different colors of jigs that everybody's got one that they swear is the best, and every one of them's gonna be different. It's all about which jig you got confidence in that you're gonna fish the hardest is the whole secret. You can take any color jig and catch fish with it if you'll believe in it hard enough and fish it hard enough. The whole key with crappie and bait, cloudy days, fish brighter baits. If it's bright and sunny, natural looking colors. And that's just general advice across the board. Knowing when fish are where is one of the keys. Catfish run in the spring. They'll eat anything that you put on a hook, just about it. If you know right when they run, and that's usually March, April. Crappie bed, sometimes when the water gets around 65 to 67, 69, 70 degrees, they spawning. Whenever it first does that, you'll find them up in 2-3 foot of water, sometimes a foot of water. Brim, they're bedding right now on full moon. Every time it's full moon, brim's gonna go to their beds for the next last full moon, this full moon, and probably the next one. So that's just some basic fishing tips, and then you can expound on that for 2 or 3 days afterwards. I mean, it going into detail. My homestead princess, my mama used to use some Avon stuff that we had something I can't remember that we put on that was good for mosquitoes and ticks and such as that. But Lord, I can't remember now what they were. Matt, or I still fix, and I pull those moccasins you sent here not long ago out. I'm gonna put them together. Whenever it gets too hot to do much of my outside stuff, which ain't gonna be too god awful long, I'm gonna start doing some in there where I shut the door under my air conditioner projects, and one of them's gonna be I'm gonna put them moccasins together, and I'm gonna make me some patterns out of them, and I'm gonna make some more over time. I've had right now with the garden and fishing. Fishing will taper off when it gets about too hot to bear being outside. So I'm milking all of the fishing I can get this year because it's important for me and Brody to get to go a good bit. But we're gonna get that done. Heather, I have never fished up that way, Wilson or Pickwick. I would love to get on Pickwick. Ron, I do love me some Richard Jean, the fishing machine. Tea tree oil and coconut oil for tick repellent. I've heard of tea tree oil. Skin so soft. John Thomas, I think that may be what my mama used. Something like that. Bet that's what it was. Everybody's commenting skin so soft. I imagine that's what it was. It was something like that. She'd rub me down in it. I'd look like I was greased over. There comes my buddy. What are you doing there, sport? Everybody's wondering about you. Uncle Sasquatch will be sure enough glad to see you. Come in. Yeah, buddy. Where you been, huh? You went down there with Brody? That what them boys down there get? Hey. Easy. I hear them youngins down there hollering. They still out playing. It's nearly 8 o'clock. Uncle Sasquatch said tell you hey and scratch you behind the ears for him. That right there is for Uncle Sasquatch. Scratch old Roscoe behind the ears. Yeah. Oh, I love you, buddy. Hop down. You ain't going to, are you? I have used dryer sheets for pesky bugs. I have heard of Wheeler Dam. I don't know what lake that is on Wilson Lake. What state is Wheeler in? Ain't that in Tennessee? I about know it is. I have heard of Wheeler Lake. That's the one up close to Nashville, ain't it? I have never fished up that way. I really hadn't fished all the lakes around here too much. I hadn't started lake fishing but the last couple of years much, and I'm new to it. That's why you hadn't seen me get on any of these lakes and be real successful on them. I'm learning them. Now, I was a little successful at Ross Barnett because I went with a man that knew where fish was already, and that is a huge benefit. Knowing right where to go where you've caught fish in the past is a huge tip. One reason Oak Tibby down here out of Meridian is easy to fish, and I say easy, it ain't easy. There's days you go down there I have and not caught a thing. But if they're biting, it's not hard to catch fish there because all you got to do, it's one big open lake, and all you got to do is look and see where all the boats are. And if they out in a certain, you go over there and see what depth water they all circling around in with them poles stuck out every direction. And they'll be just going back and forth running over fish and catching them. And once you do that, then you can go to those depths in different places and you'll find fish in other parts of the lake at that similar to that depth. Now, all the fish won't be at that same depth all over the lake. There'll be some still deep and some shallow, and they don't all spawn at the same time. I've learned that. Some of them will go spawn, some of them still wait until they're ready to go, and every time the water temperature will get up to a certain level, some of them will run up there and spawn. So, and then you'll go up there and you won't catch very many, but that don't mean they some up there spawning. If you catch a few, it's tricky to do, and I hadn't learned it. Now, this swamp, I fished it all my life. I can go down there if the water is decent and I can catch something. Now, I may not wear them out. That's like, I got a friend of mine that I talked to, man, he's fished this swamp here this past week, last weekend actually, and I mean just slaughtered them. He caught some big crappie, really. And I didn't do that, and that's why I kept hunting crappie. I was like, well, I know they'll bite because he caught some. I mean, but now, different holes have different size fish in there, so knowing where you fish and what you're fishing for is key. In the lakes like that, so I hadn't fished a lot of these lakes. Lake near Huntsville, Alabama. Well, we go into Smith Lake. I have never fished Smith Lake. Now, I heard that they fixing to drain Smith Lake. Oh, how many of y'all heard of this? Y'all that's over there in Alabama. News reports, Google this and check it now, but Google reports that in 2026, they're going to drain Smith Lake. Something about the dam is the power that it's supposed to be producing is not. I don't know if they're draining it permanently or if they're going to drain it and work on the dam and then let it. I don't know, but I think they have got something stirred up. I think there's some mad folks that live on that lake, from what I understand. Heather, yeah, I'll build him a knife. I tell you what I require you to do, though. I want you to get him to get a piece of paper and draw a rough sketch of what he wants, close to the size he wants, and I'll build him a knife. Now, it may not come out perfect, but I'd be honored to build a man a knife that he'd take over there and fight with, and we'll make sure we build him a good knife. If he's going to Syria, it'd be an honor to build one and pray over it and send it with him. I'll do that, yes. I know I stand a lot of middle of the road on a lot of politics stuff, and I joke and pick and carry on, y'all, but now my hat is off to our men and women, and this weekend, if y'all don't hear from me, I don't have service. It's Memorial Day weekend in honor of all of our fallen soldiers, the people that have paid with the ultimate price. And y'all, my hat's off to them, and I pray God be with all their families. And those men and women are the reason we have what we have today. And that's from the Revolutionary War and the French and Indian Wars all the way down through the Civil Wars, both sides, and all the way to what we've got fighting now. I mean, it's every battle, regardless of if they were right or wrong in their motives for being there, or what politicians were right or wrong for having them there, all that's beside the point. People that suit up with a rifle and go to fight, stare another person in the face to fight for their life, or fighting hidden enemies now mostly, my hat's off to them, y'all. I honor all our men and women, and it would be an honor to build him a knife. So Heather, email me at justinpeden@gmail.com and get with me, or if you're on Facebook, message me on Facebook. Let me know it's you, and we'll get something squared away. Yes. Dakota, what kind of saw blades? It costs a lot to ship saw blades. If they like skill saw blades, they just about too thin. These saw blades that I use are like a 14-inch circular saw blade, but they're a little more than just a saw blade. I'm finna have to get up and turn my lights on, y'all. It is starting to get dark out here. It is 7:55. Jonathan Riley, it was Mosby's sausage. Mosbys. Mosby's. I had a friend of mine call to talk about some butcher something sausage. It's got a bunch of different flavors. He said was really good. I have not tried. I also, y'all, have one of the sausages that I would like to try that I have not is the andouille sausage. It's made down in South Louisiana, I think. I think that's where it's made. I have not eat any of it either. So I have not tried every sausage out there. Now I like Conecuh sausage. To me, Mosby's is better. That is an opinion, okay? You may eat it and say, I like the Conecuh better, and that's understandable. So take that with a grain of salt. Jimmy Glenn, good to see you tonight. Rachel Tripp, welcome to the family. I know we have picked up a lot of new people via the plantain salve video and the wild lettuce video, so all of you that are new, welcome. We just a big family, and there is some wonderful folks in the comment section. They are some intelligent folks in the comment section. Just cause we talk slow don't mean we're stupid, so be careful. There's a lot of wisdom under gray hair now. I've learned that. I seen somebody talking about checking Uncle Huckleberry said you're going to check out Sasquatch's channel. Uncle Sasquatch is a wealth of knowledge for black powder, old muzzle loaders, and really guns in general. And he is now took up making some knives and doing a really good job at it. So, yeah, go check him out. He's been doing it for a long time. And is a good friend of mine. They ain't a better fellow out there. Now, there may be some more folks just as good as him, but I promise you they ain't better. Yeah, John Thomas, there's a lot of people died across this nation, and I'm going to take it a step further. And I would probably get some disagreement, but there's some natives that lost their lives fighting for what they believed in this country. Some of them fought for the wrong reasons. Some of them was on the wrong side of things. Some of them were fighting for the right reason and lost, so those stories that you read have to be taken with a grain of salt because there was a lot of fault on both sides back in those days, and history only tells that writer's political opinion of what went on, so you have to be careful. There was a lot of natives that were good, fair, wonderful people and just fought for their land and lost. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, my hat goes off to them too, because I really have a lot of respect for the Native American way of life back then. Some of their thought processes of taking care of the land is one of the things that I have a high respect for. Take what you need. Don't be wasteful with it. There's no point in just taking more than you need out of greed. And we seem to struggle with that these days. So, I know probably it ain't popular to put them in the category with most folks, but I'm going to. Cynthia, how are you? Good evening. Tyler Coco, good to see you. No, I don't I don't do much spring. We have a spring squirrel season. I think it is going on right now. I am not sure the dates on it. I hadn't looked them up because it's very rare that if I'm gonna get out and hunt a squirrel this time of year. Now I may kill one when they start eating my corn up. I really don't pay attention to a season. If I kill one, I usually cook him right then. But I have trapped them in cage traps around my corn and haul them off somewhere and turn them loose. But they probably beat me back home. You can't never tell. I know a possum or something or a raccoon. You can haul it off 2 or 3 miles. It'll be back in your corn that night. Yes, y'all, if you're not watching Uncle Sasquatch, you need to check him out. And there's some other folks in here commenting that's got channels. It's hard for me to just go through there and look at every one of them that, doing some good things. The Shiloh battlefield. Jim Reynolds, I need somebody to show me how to catch them on Kemper. I have been told on several occasions right with that, and the last time I was over there, I found the houseboat at Kemper, and I looked at Crappie down there on my. Now my electronics on my boat ain't that great, but I could see the structure. I marked it on my GPS on my Humminbird on the boat, but I couldn't get them to bite nothing, and so I don't know. Yeah, Jimmy, the Native Americans, the thing about it, their deal, it was bound to happen because you can't. If they were still here living today, the way they were living then, there's no doubt that some nation would come over here and wipe them out unmercifully and take over the land because, I mean, it was just, they happened to not be enough technology then to have known about this place. And now, if Russia knew about it, or China knew about it, or anybody for that matter knew about this continent over here that didn't have nothing but Aboriginal people on it, you can bet your bottom dollar somebody would come over here before you could spit and kill every one of them without question, without mercy, and stick their flag up on the flagpole. It's just, y'all know it as well as I do. That's just what had happened. And it's just about whatever nation discovered it first. And the fact that the fact that they were allowed to live is a market that most people probably wouldn't have done. It don't justify anything, but it was bound to happen, in other words, is my opinion, I think. Yes, email me, Dakota Ben. Yeah, John, it was bound to happen at some point. I just, it's one of those things that's got mixed emotions about it. I'd give my eye tooth to come over here and lived as the mountain men did, that went and lived among the Indians, that peace with them, and just trapped and lived off the land and done their thing. That would have been the ideal life for me. Everybody's not going to live that way. There's too many greedy folks, so, I mean, it's just wasn't going to last long. Bobber and a jig. Grateful Ed, I have done that song. Birmingham, Alabama. Matthew Graves, I'll be right north of you here in a few days on Smith Lake. Uh-oh, I see a little short fella. What are you doing, little man? Watch the cords. Hey, don't turn that on. Let me go turn this other cord. Roscoe was in the cord, and I said cord. Turn these lights on. Hey, Brody, I need you to do me a favor.
What?
I need you to go in my room, tell Mama to help you, and get the bug zapper. We got a bug zapper we need to hang up. Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. Go tell Mama to Michelle. Go get the bug zapper. I think that's about dead. I wouldn't run off too far on it. Yeah, you better not go nowhere. You better go find your four-wheeler. I think that thing's done dead. Bug zapper. It's in there charging by the desk, by the computer. It plugs up to a USB thing, and it is a portable bug zapper. And I have not tried it out. Now, it may not work good with all these lights. I don't know. But Miss Mary sent it to me. Showed up while I was fishing. I got home, it was here. And I have got my other box of boots showed up. There's a box of boots and a pair of shoes from True Dave. They wanted me to check them out. So I'm going to experiment with them at some point next week. And I'm supposed to be getting a big axe from Beavercraft, like a bigger axe. I don't know exactly how big. I wanted it in time to go to the camping trip, but it didn't show up in time. So
He can't reach it.
all right. Oh, so y'all look at this. I mentioned a bug zapper, and Miss Mary, she couldn't stand it. She said she was gonna send one. So check this out, and then look at this. It has got, I don't know, y'all can't even tell the colors. Maybe you can see it on my hand. You can see it changing colors on my arm and hand. Because I can see that in the screen, it just looks white. So it looks like the colors are moving round and round in it, I would say. I know, like I said, y'all can't even tell. You got to go by my hands, see how the colors are changing. So I don't know what all. So what I'm going to do is hang it up back here behind me. There is some Christmas lights hanging right over there. And I'm just going to tie it to one of them for right now, because I ain't going to leave it up. There.
Dad.
What?
I'm hunting.
You hunting?
Yeah, I'm hunting alligators.
Well, don't hunt alligators. We can't hunt alligators here. All right, it is right behind. Okay. Yeah, that didn't help nothing neither. Right there. It's right at the top of the screen, so I'll probably slam forget about it.
I don't see a gator.
Okay.
It's in that bush right there.
I'll probably get zapped fooling with it before it's said and done. I mean, it's I don't know how strong it is. It charges up with a USB port. So I've had it in there by the computer, plugged up, charging up, and we'll see what it does. But I would have took it with me camping. I mean, it's got a light on it like a lantern, you know. It would be ideal to take camping and stuff. So we're going to see what it does, see how it works. I'll probably have to turn all these lights off to really get the full effect out of it, but yeah, Nancy, they'll go to fizz and sound like catfish frying in there before it's said and done. Frank, I have used a thermocell, but it is more on, basically it's got a pad in there soaked in permethrin, if I ain't mistaken, is what that is. And it heats it up, and I don't know. Jimmy said stick your finger in there, see if it works. Yeah.
jump over the lava.
Matthew Graves said Smith Lake is loaded with crappie. If I was going over there not knowing nothing, we're going to be south to the east on the lower side, one of them fingers coming out, we're going to be down somewhere in that area. So, on the southeast side of the whole lake system, where do I look for crappie right now? They going to be deep. They say that lake is deep, deep, deep. I don't know how deep it'll be right where we at. So, I'm going to take a few jig poles with me and my crappie fishing stuff, and I'm taking bass fishing stuff, and that is all. Because with that, I got the boat loaded down, and I like to bass fish, so I'll troll around and bass fish. Me and Andrew just want to bass fish. I got to buy a license for Alabama while I'm over there, so maybe there'll be more Alabama fishing videos before it's all said and done. Joe said the plantain infusion really doesn't have a flavor. Brody eats plantain on a regular basis. Probably be just as well off to make a salad out of it, reckon. But I've heard that plantain makes good salad greens, and I will tell you this, the last time I ate very much of it, it gave me gas. I don't know why. Grinnell, Matthew, it's hard to tell. It has a different texture than most all other fish, but fried the way I cut it up in nuggets and fry it, it's more of a meaty texture. I compare it to like mahi-mahi or something like that. I mean, really. And people are like, what? But it's more like a meat than it is like a mushy fish. You know, it ain't flaky and just... It gets mushy when it's mishandled. And that's why people's made patties and garballs and such as all this out of it. It's one of the things, I don't know. It don't taste like chicken. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Laser Addict, how are you tonight, my friend? Frank, I wish I could afford to come up to Pennsylvania. I would love to come up into the Northeast. There is some beautiful backcountry in Pennsylvania and New York that I would love to see. I don't care nothing about none of them cities they got over there. Keep me as far away from that as possible. But there is some beautiful country up in there, and I would like to see it one day. And maybe one day YouTube will decide to put me way up at the top, you know, and I get me about 500,000 subscribers and start getting a big check, and I'll just travel around and go on all these outdoor excursions all over the country, and videos will get real good then. I don't know, they probably go downhill, won't they? Jason, I have got a host of fresh plantain out here. I'm talking about I got a patch that's probably 3 or 4 foot wide, 20 foot long that I've left a strip that I ain't mowing. It's already starting to get seed pods on it. Later, Cal. I just seen Lloyd Morris saying he was leaving. We'll see you later. Well, Charlie Phillips, I heard that Smith Lake was going to be drained. What do you know about that? In 2026, they say they're going to drain it. So I don't know. I heard that through the grapevine. I don't know. We saw it on the internet. Do you live around the same areas where Marty Stewart is from? Yes. I have been by Marty Stewart's house. I've not been to it. I just drove by. It's got a big gate and all that up in front of it. In Philadelphia here, he has a country music congress, which is a museum. He is And they've been having. He bought one of the old movie theaters here, and they're doing concerts in it. Small, high price tickets, but they're not overpriced. But I mean, it's limited selection, so the wealthier people's buying $8,000 tickets. Um, Dolly Parton came last year with one of the bigger names, but I think one of Winona Judd come. John Anderson was here. A lot of the older people that the people that I grew up listening to are coming through and putting on shows. Now I'll be honest with y'all, I ain't no huge Dolly fan. She had like 3 songs I like. She's a pretty woman, but and I like her all right. I'm just not no great huge fan of her. I wouldn't go pay a bunch of money to sit and listen to her sing all night. I mean. Yeah, Frank. Talking about growing the YouTube. If my deal, and I'll tell y'all why my channel is not no bigger than it is. I know exactly. I do a lot of different stuff. So YouTube struggles, the algorithm struggles to figure out where to put me. It's not that my content is not good, and some of it probably ain't good, but what I'm saying, it ain't like they're hiding me because of my content. One day I'm doing plants, one day I'm fishing, one day I'm camping, one day I'm gardening, one day I'm preaching, one day and it's like, well, okay, we can't. Well, and then one thing, there's a lot of people that love plants and gardening, and they hear me preach, and they like, oh no, do the black powder stuff, and then you get over here bass fishing, and I don't care nothing about that, or either you're, gardening, and I ain't interested in that. So every community of people don't like everything else, so they don't constantly watch all your videos. That's why you can have 20-something thousand subscribers and ain't but 1,000 people watching every video. You're picking up different people with what you do. Now, right now, my fishing videos have done the best. My older medicinal plants will hit the algorithm and take off. I've got a plantain side video that is going through the roof right now. And then my old wild lettuce medicine making video has took off. So YouTube just don't know which audience to put me in front of for it to grow. If I would do just one thing and do nothing but that, it would grow a lot faster. But what good it has done for me is the people that have stuck it out, that's like, hey, are here for the right reasons. They're here because they like me, and all of you that tune in and watch live are a lot of wonderful people. My thing is it don't take me long to rub somebody the wrong way, because most people, they like you until you say one thing that they disagree with, and then they don't listen to nothing else you got. And that is really, y'all, a foolish way of living life. Because if you think you're going to agree 100% with everybody or with anybody on everything, that ain't happening, so. And the only way that those people find somebody they can follow time is somebody that don't have an opinion on nothing, just kind of whatever, and so I'm opinionated. I mean, when I believe something, I'm firm in what I think and why I think it, and usually I got a good reason for why I think it, so. I don't know, Martin. I hadn't seen Martin in about a week. I hadn't seen Tommy, and Tommy has not commented on a video in a couple of weeks. I don't know where Tommy is at. He may be mad at me too. Nancy, I am not gonna change. What I was gonna say, talking about that. I made a reel here not long ago on Instagram, and I made this statement. I was like, people claim they want truth, that they love truth, and they want to hear truth until they realize truth offends them. We all say we want truth until the truth comes out and I disagree with it. Then we want to decide, well, you wrong. So take scripture for instance. Let's talk about the Bible in this sense, because usually where I rub people wrong is with my preaching. And it's because I preach a non-watered down version. I tell it like it says it in the book. And I pray over what I preach on here. I get it from the Lord. The Lord tells me in my heart, leads me into what I'm going to pray. I don't just say, hey, I like this. I come up with this and I like it and I'm going to, that ain't how that works. So you put something out there, and when somebody says, this makes me uncomfortable, well, the Word of God, the Bible, is like an anvil. The steel is placed on that anvil and beat, and that Word of God is supposed to shape it to what it wants it to be. The Bible and the Word of God and Christianity and God and His Spirit is supposed to shape you into what that Word of God says. You don't bend that Word of God to fit what you like. And that's where most people struggle, because it's uncomfortable. Well, if you go to church every Sunday and everything that's preached, oh, you love it, it sounds good, man, yeah, that's the best church, I like everything they say, and well, they probably ain't preaching truth to you. Because real truth should make you uncomfortable. As good as we are, we're none of us perfect. Real truth should make us squirm when we hear it. And that means that we still got work we need to do on us, and y'all ain't none of us perfect. We all got work to do. And that's why most time you get these people that say, I want, freedom of speech, and I want, everybody ought to believe in religion, and and they're all for your rights until you disagree with them. And then they'll message you or comment and say, you ought not say this. I couldn't tell you how many people have commented on the Just in Time series and said, I disagree with this now. This ain't what the Bible means right here. Or I don't think you ought to say this like this. And you need to say it like this. And well, they think they're helping you, but really what they're wanting to do is tell you how you should preach. And they ain't a man of God worth his salt that'll say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do what you. So what, if you've got any intelligence, why would you comment that? Why would you reach out to a man of God and say, don't preach that? You need to change your belief on this because I don't like it. That ain't how this works. And never fails, when I get a comment or I get a message or somebody reaches out to me like that, it ain't long I don't see their comments no more on Just in Time. They may stick around and comment on some other stuff for a while, but usually they peter on out from there pretty soon. So yeah, Nancy, I'm not gonna change. I am what I am for a reason. It's not like I woke up one day and said, oh, I like this. This is cool. Y'all, if I made up, and done things my way, what I wanted to do, man, we'd all be happy-go-lucky and partying and living like we wanted to, and, have all the husbands and wives you wanted, and everything would be wonderful, but it don't work that way. The things I like that ain't good. So I'm not preaching my ideas and what I like. This is you. Everybody ought to, because how you live your life ain't gonna affect me not one bit. It ain't like I care because it's gonna change me. So that is my opinion on a lot of that and my reason for a lot of that. And I take them comments and them messages and text and whatever else they may be, and with a grain of salt, but it don't change who I am. And I have had people tell me, I ain't changing for nobody. Well, if you're never planning on changing anything in your life, ain't no need you ever listen to more preaching or reading your Bible no more or going to church no more. Because we all going to have to be willing to change some if we make it. Because ain't none of us perfect. We all got some changing we got to do. Even at our best, we still got some changing that needs to happen. And we can all find out, you know what, I've been living this way a long time and I've been missing something. There's something I ain't learned yet. Something I ain't, We ain't all got everything because we ain't all having revival and seeing miracles, you know. Jason McAllister, that's what I have said. If truth hurts and burns people that's not willing to change truth. They really want to hear they want to pretend and look like, oh, we're on the good side, and yeah, we want to hear the Bible and all of it. We right, but then again, they really don't, because when they do hear it, they, oh, I don't like that. That ain't what I think, you know. And the fact of the matter is, the Bible and God don't care what we think, you know. It tells us what to think, matter of fact. Frank, I have been going to preach on that fig tree. I don't know, several times it has come across my mind, and then the Lord would lead me in a different direction. And I think it's because I try to follow the Spirit, really and truly, in my just-in-time videos, because God knows who's going to watch those videos. He knows what they're dealing with, what they're fighting, and what they need to hear. He knows who's prepared to hear what, and He's not worried about it rubbing those that are not going to change for the better anyway a little bit wrong. Because, you know, it may offend them and they get mad and leave, and then a year later on down the road, it may still be eating on them. And they may say, you know what, I'm going to have to rethink that. And if that happens, I'm okay with them staying mad at me from now on if it does them good in the long run. But, you know, the Bible says, where will the earth be? If the salt has lost its savor, then where will it be salted? Same way with the fig tree. If that fig tree's not producing fruit, He said, get rid of it. You know, and we like to think of fruit as, you know, people and all, but I guess fruit can be labeled as a lot of different things. But fruit really is winning souls. And if we're not winning souls, we're not producing fruit, you know. So, yeah, Larry, that's what I'm trying to do is plant seeds. And it's, you know, I'm like the sower in the Bible. I'm casting them out, and some's falling in the stony ground, and some the thorns is getting, some is falling in good soil. And those are the ones, and if they do, the Lord will water them. The Lord will give the increase. The Lord will put fruit on it, you know. So I trust in Him, and I am what I am. Money ain't gonna change me. You know, people ain't nobody gonna text me and say, hey, you need to do this. I'm not greedy enough for somebody to offer me enough money to change my way of preaching, for sure. I'd just soon be poor, because my belief system has got me to where I'm at, and the reason I'm living the life that I'm living. I told somebody the other day, I said, I am living the best life I've ever lived. I'm broke as I ever been for the most part. I mean, I ain't just without a dollar, but every couple of weeks we trying to figure out how we're going to scrounge enough up to keep all the bills paid, and we manage to do it every time. The Lord will provide some way or another, and you know, I don't worry about a thing. As long as the Lord is providing, I don't sweat tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. That's what the Bible said. So yeah, yep. And you know, the thing about all of this, and you can apply this to every aspect of life, there ain't nothing ever gonna be easy. If it's easy, it ain't probably worth doing, you know. Everybody else has done that. I get tickled at what we've got things in the social media world called trending. So something on social media will be trending, so everybody wants to do it, so they can hop on that little algorithm ride and try to get more likes and followers. And if I see everybody else doing it, I'm just about not gonna do it. Well, that's done been doing. I ain't. It's like when I make a video on something, I'll get comments, well, you need to go watch so-and-so's video. They done it like this. And I'm like, you know what? I probably already watched it. I don't tell them this, but I'm thinking, I've already watched that video, and that's the reason I done it a different way. They already done that and showed that works. Let's try this. I want to see if this works. I think it'll work, so I'm going to try it. So anyway, we won't get on no bunch of ranting. And if it fits, it bakes. Good to see you tonight. Y'all go watch him. He's done branched out from cooking to doing all kind of stuff. Puts out some pretty good videos. Y'all go watch him. And Deaver Vision. Deaver has got him a YouTube channel that seems to be growing a little bit. Won't be long, it'll be took off, and he'll be bigger than I am. And that'll be all right. I hope he does. I hope it blows up for both of them. Deaver, I know what you mean about being spread thin. I'll tell you, y'all notice that I ain't been putting out a video a day. But the videos are a little better, but it's because I've had to take time to go do some things, and then getting this garden in. Like, I planted the corn out here, and I didn't film none of that. I was going to, but I was rushing to get it done and go to church. Now, you know what? They done seen me plant all this other stuff. I may walk around in the morning before we leave, checking on stuff and do a little update and upload it and have something to put out there, but you can go back and watch that camping video again. John Thomas said, let them eat Tide Pods. Yeah, they'll get something silly, something trending, and everybody's got to do it. That's like them stacking them milk crates up. Y'all see that a year or so ago? They stack milk crates up. You got to walk all the way up them and back down. I'm like, man, that is as stupid as... It takes a genuine idiot to try to climb up to the top of 10 milk crates and stand on them. I mean, if you fall and break your leg, then what? Just so somebody would hit like on you, but nah. I ain't real bright. I'm just gonna tell you. Matthew Graves, I'm gonna tell you that, especially young boys, but now there is a lot of young girls, and I'm talking about kids, that like watching the outdoor stuff as well. But I'm going to target the boys for a moment, because there's a lot of them that need here. There's a lot of them that don't have daddies. There's a lot of them that have daddies that ain't there. Daddies that don't do nothing. I know a lot of y'all are like me, you get out and do stuff, but there's a lot of daddies out there that don't do nothing, and their kids ain't never gonna have a chance to go fishing or do anything. And y'all, I don't know if I ought to share this or not. I was at church this past weekend, last week, I don't remember, it was one of the services. I don't think it was this weekend, it was last week sometime. And there wasn't a lot of people there that particular service. I think it was a Wednesday night service. It's been back a little bit. There's a little boy come down there, and sometimes kid, he was probably, I don't know, 7, 8, or 10 years old. And I knew a little of his backstory, his family story. You don't judge people. You don't dig into their life personally. I mean, everybody's got their own life to live, and everybody's fighting with something. But I knew a little of what he come from. His mama's bringing him and his siblings to church. He come down there and he got prayer. He wanted prayer for a poison ivy that was on his arm, and he said, and I want to pray for my daddy that he'll start coming to church. And y'all, it touched me right down here, because these are young guys that their daddies works all day, comes in and drinks all night. Almost exactly the life I used to live. And I seen in that little boy what I used to do to my daughter. And I'm talking about it, it pricked me. I prayed for him as hard as I've ever prayed for anybody. And a lot of times we don't realize what our decisions, how they impact other people, And that's in small things. more especially the big decisions. So with that being said, I try to give young guys a role model to look up to. Not that I'm great, not that I'm better than anybody else. They is a lot better men than me out here, y'all. I am not trying to put myself up on a pedestal, but since I have a platform, if I can be a role model to young men to give them some hope in tomorrow, to inspire some young men to grow up, say, you know what, I want to live a good life like that. I don't want to be a drunk. I don't want to be a party. I want to hunt and fish and garden and raise a family and do what's right and be a man. Stand for what I believe in no matter what. And there is a good, honest life to live that I promise y'all I'm living the best life I ever lived. I enjoy every day. I get up when I want to get up. I go to bed when I want to get up or when I want to go to bed. And it's because I worked hard a long time to get what I got paid for, but I also made some smart decisions and not buy a bunch of useless stuff that I couldn't pay for. I mean, I got a buggy that gives me fits. I paid a good bit for in payments, but I buy one thing at a time. I ain't trying to pay payments on 4 or 5 different toys out here. I could do that if I wanted to, but it don't make no sense. I'm in a new vehicle. As long as I got one that'll run, I don't. A new vehicle is a furthest thing from my mind. I know people that they got to ride in a brand new one all the time, and I'm thinking, how foolish. I mean, if you've got a lot of money and you're running a business that you have to handle a lot of money, and you've got to buy, I understand that. Okay, I get that. But there's a lot of people that they just see so and so over here with a new vehicle. Well, I need another one. I want a new vehicle. That's silly. Being deep in debt and making payments it ain't for me. Ain't for me. But I want to give kids some hope and something to look up to, something to be a role model. Not a drunk or a meth head, and that's all they. Some of them that's all they know from mom and a daddy, y'all. I mean. And it's running rampant now. Now, how many of them's daddy's turned into a woman? I mean, God forbid. Sad life for some kids. I hate to even imagine what some kids is living in. I really do. Uncle Sasquatch, if you be just like me when you grow up, you'd have to take a step backwards. Laser Addict, good night. We'll see you later, bud. Larry Alexander, good night. Glad you hung with us for a little while. Michael Edwards, I was born in 81, so I got the tail end of a good life. But as rural as we were and kind of secluded out here, in a good neighborhood, I still got to grow up riding bicycles up and down the road. I grew up without a TV in my home was one of the benefits. I think that is the one thing that set me apart from the rest of the people in my generation. Now, I watched a lot of TV at other places, but my mom and daddy never had a TV, and it was just something. They had never had one and never seen the purpose in it, really couldn't see no good in it, and didn't. So we never had one. And I think that was a benefit to me. It's hard to sit there and just put your finger that, hey, yeah, this is. But you got to think that when you brought the TV into the home, you brought a lot of other culture and a lot of other ideas and a lot of stuff that mama and daddy wouldn't have necessarily taught their kids, but they learned it. And then not to mention what's being taught in schools now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff being taught that probably should be left alone. I don't know. It's a. But anyway, I grew up on the tail end of a good life. We rode bicycles, played with matchbox cars in the dirt, and whittled out slingshots, and used Chinaberry balls for ammunition, and had war with them, and threw dirt clods at each other. And I mean, we played outside. Out in the country, we all played outside all day, all summer. Didn't matter how hot. We had a watermelon for a treat. Grandpa, I can remember Papa offered hollering, we got a watermelon. And man, we all lived in earshot of the house up there. You know, where I grew up was probably about 600 or 800 yards down the road. And then my cousin, they was about 200 or 300 yards the other side of them. And my grandpa would go out on the back porch. We got a watermelon. You know, we was all outside. Oh man, Papa hollering, he's cutting a watermelon, and everybody'd go up there and we'd eat a watermelon. You know, those were the good days, man. What I'd give to stand on my front porch out there and hear him holler, "We got a watermelon," it'd just do my heart good. 80s was some good years. My daddy, he always said the 60s was good years. That was way before my time. I can't expound on that. Ryan Foster, I like the bug light. I tell you what, let's do. Let's go over there and let's take a gander at the bug light, y'all. I mean, if we sit over here and don't never see what's going on. I see bugs stuck all, I see mosquitoes stuck all up in there. They ain't moving, the ones that stuck to it. I don't just see none sizzling and smoking neither. So I don't know. Y'all, I'm trying to look and determine if it's. It seems to be killing some. I mean, they stuck to it in there. I don't just see smoke coming up. You know, them big ones, they'll do the 110. You'll look around over there and them things it'll be smoking. I'll turn it back up where y'all can see it up there anyway. Chance Williams, yeah, most all kids have electronic babysitter, and we are not depriving Brody of stuff. Like he watched this iPad last night and run it down watching something on it. But we regulate what he ain't had a video game console. He'll be 5 this summer. And Brody will play outside. He's been out on the front porch all evening playing with Legos and dinosaurs and playing alligator hunting and I don't know what and running around with guns and riding a little four-wheeler. And he goes with me to check traps and he's been down there playing with them other kids, helped me wash the car. I put the soap and he squirted me in the truck with a water hose. So we had a good time. So, you know, as long as he does that, I don't mind him having a little TV time and at night, you know, in there playing stuff. But I don't want him all day long glued to anything. I don't. And but like I said, I don't. If I'm going to run traps or I'm going fishing or I'm going to do something and he says I don't want to go, I don't make him go either. I'll leave him sitting right there. Because I don't want to burn him out on something either. Because I know some kids that their daddies made them go do stuff, trying to teach them the outdoors, and now they hate it. Because, oh, I had to do that. You know, if they're made to do it, and what my job is my job is to come in and express how good of a time I had and how much I enjoyed what I was doing out there. And that's what's going to make them want to go do it. If you're doing something and you look miserable doing it, ain't nobody else gonna want to do it. And y'all, that can apply to your Christian walk too. If you're walking around, you know, I'm trying to live right, but man, I feel like I'm missing out on all the fun, you know, well, they don't nobody want what you got. You know, if you always, well, I'm broke and depressed and I can't do it, you know, ain't nobody gonna want what you got. But if I sit here and tell you how much I'm living life, living life, and I really am, I'm enjoying what I do. And it's because God's blessed me and because I gave my life to him. And let me tell y'all this, when I gave my life to him, that wouldn't say, well, Lord, I want you to fill my heart, but I'm still going to live like I want to. That ain't what I done. When I said, Lord, I want you to take control of my life, I said, I'm sick of living like I was living. I don't want to live that way no more. I want to be different. And that's what separates me from a lot of people. A lot of people get in because I'm scared I'm going to go to hell, so I want to go to church. But now I like the way I'm living. You know, I like my girlfriend on the side, and I like drinking a little and smoking a little dope and doing this and doing, you know, I don't want to give all that up. I want to get to heaven. I'm going to slip and do a little of this and not let it get out of control. Well, that ain't what I done. I said, Lord, I'm sick of that, man. I want to live a good life. And that's what he done. It's either all or none. Jerome Williams, it could be self-heal. It could be several different plants, really. Skullcap, the flowers have a little hump in there with the two little things on them, purple flowers, and the skullcap can have white looking blooms. Jerry Hunt brought me one that had white blooms. I planted it down here the other day. So, I would have to see a picture of it to know what it was. If you can email me a picture of it or send it to me on Facebook Messenger, I'll look and see, and I'd try to identify it. SDM, you know, sometimes we look at life like, well, I wish I could afford to buy my kids what everybody else has got. But, you know, there may be a reason that some of us is poor. Because it keeps us honest and we're still living a good life, that money will change us. You know, I would love to make a lot of money doing this channel where I could afford to not have to make pottery, and all I had to do was film YouTube videos, because I love filming YouTube videos. I really do. I mean, that's why I make so many different kinds of videos. I like filming all the stuff I do. And I wish I could make a good living doing it where I could afford to travel off and do stuff that I've never got to experience before. But to sit here and tell you that money wouldn't change me, I wouldn't. I would try to not let it change me, but money will change you a little bit. And whether, only God knows whether he can trust you with it or not. You know, so sometimes being broke and can't afford something is really a blessing in the long run. So, I see your point with that. Art living, that's good. That's the way Brody is. Brody would really rather be outside. And I'll tell you this with Brody. Brody is very high strung. Y'all see him come through here and he don't never stop. He ain't never still. When he stays like through the winter, it was cold and Michelle was worried he'd get sick. And he stayed in the house a lot during the winter. And it was a lot of sloppy, cold, nasty days. She wouldn't be able to deal with him. He'd be about peeling the paint off the walls. He'd be so wound up. But I can bring him outside with me, and he can spend all day outside following me around doing whatever I'm doing, and he's manageable. When he comes in, it's like now he'll sit down and play. He's not just tearing into everything. Now, Brody's the thing that we struggle with Brody. Brody wants to take his toys and just pour them out on the floor and watch them go everywhere. And then he'll sit down and play with a few of them a little bit. And then his mind gets on something else and he wants to go get a bucket of something different and pour it out everywhere. Well, it don't take him but a few minutes to have stuff poured all over everywhere. You can't even walk. So we fix to start boxing stuff up, and I don't know if we're going to take it to the thrifty nickel or put it in a yard sale, or I really wish I knew kids that couldn't afford a whole lot and then give it to some of them, but it's hard to do that without offending some people. So Lloyd Morris has a point. Henbit has purple flowers. There's also the purple dead nettle, and another one is lyre leaf sage, has a stem with a little bluish looking flower. It's gonna look like a big round plant though at the leaf. I say a round plant. It's the stem will come out of the middle and it'll have leaves coming off low at the ground with a stem, and it'll have a bluish, purplish looking flower. Art Living, I know somebody right now very well that has a good job making a lot more money than they've ever made in their life, and it's killing them. Their personal life is coming all to pieces, and that's usually the way it works. I told my wife here recently, I said, if that's what it takes to have money, I don't ever want none. And I'm serious, y'all. I heard something that was very distinct. Let me tell y'all a little backstory right quick. Jerry Hunt come up here the other day, wanted some oats. Well, we've got a field of oats down there where we planted pumpkins. And my daddy had left it. Well, the pigs come up here and got all in it, rooting around. Well, they've been up here every night for the last 2 or 3 nights. He got the oats. He was going to make a tincture out of it for something. Oats has medicinal properties, so he harvested some of the straw. And I swear I just thought I heard a pig grunt right out there somewhere. That is why. Roxanne! Roxy! Come here, girl. Where's he at? Where's he at? Go get him. Where's he at? Where's he at? Go get him. Where's he at? Where they at? She's down there chasing rats. Her mind's on that chicken pen and rats. She goes straight back to it. Where's he at, Roxanne? Come here. Come here. Where's he at? She's hunting rats. She ain't gonna go see if there's anything else out there. All right, I'm gonna plug that. This is charged up to 84%. So I thought I heard a pig grunt. I may need to get a rifle and go make a loop after a while and see. The Better Boys is some of them's actually kind of small. They're not, but I tried to plant mine from seed. I got a few that's up doing fairly well. My celebrities, the big beef, are doing the best. Now Roscoe is over here at the door barking at something. What is it, bud? He probably heard me. Yeah, Larry, that's what I'm thinking. Get the light. I thought you went to bed a while ago, Larry. You couldn't leave, could you? I'm picking at you. Oh, yeah, I need to get the light to go. When I get off of live, I'll get my flashlight and I need a big enough rifle. If I don't hit one real good, I need something better than a 22 or a 17. That's my night guns is a 22, but if there's a pig, I need something big enough. The reason I know it's a pig is we seen the scat, the doo-doo, and it looked like a cow nearby it. And I know it was a pig. I mean, it was distinctly pig, so. Bill Valentine, I know what you mean by that. Sometimes I'm very much that way. SDM, yeah, them beauty berries is pretty. Yeah, John, if you can hit them, I have killed several pigs with a 22 or a 17. If they're trapped or standing pretty still, it ain't hard to do at all. But now, if they get wind of you and take off, now, it's hard for me with a 22. I used to could have done it. My eyes is not as good anymore. And I guess I'm just not as good anymore, so. I was going back seeing if Bill Valentine asked, did I go fishing today? No, no. I had to wash the truck to go over on the trip, and then I had to back the boat up here and get the boat ready. Checking on chickens and squaring away some loose ends around here. Unloaded all the stuff out of the buggy. Me and Brody went and checked on some trouts. And I had a big old bowl of ice cream I had to take care of. I really piddled around here and not worked in 2 or 3 days. I'm gonna wind up broke myself. I mean, we always real close to it, but my good thing is I can make an order of pottery and it don't take long to make. It takes us a while to let it dry and glaze. And I've got a big order come in that I have got to work on. We had actually completed all of our orders as of last week. Why I went to the woods, said, well, I'm going camping. I ain't gonna waste this opportunity because I heard something else. Roxanne, where's he at? Go down there. What's in the garden down there? Go down there and see what's down there. What's out there? What's out there? What's out there? If I can get her focus on it, she's a good nose dog. Where's she at? Where's that? Go see. She's headed that way now. Where's he at? Where's he at? Go get him. Come here. Hey. This way. Come here. What's down here? Come on. What's down here? Hey, let me go get my other dog. Roscoe. Come on. Well, I need a flashlight. Brandon, is there a flashlight in there? Oh, I think there's a flashlight right here. I think there's a pig out here somewhere. Where's he at, son? Go look. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at down there? Where's he at? Where's he at, boy? Brody finna get me a flashlight. Well, Brody may not. Michelle is. Brody is glued to a TV. He ain't moving. I got this Ode Pro light.
What you doing?
I'm looking for a pig. I heard something made a racket out here, and I don't know what it is. Ain't nothing in the golf. Where's he at, boy?
I heard it too.
Y'all, there is a... Let me get this charger is hanging on the tripod, and that's what's doing all that bumping and banging. So anyway, let me look out here. That is my grapevine. Got wild lettuce right there, and that is pokeberries. Wanted to see if they was in my corn out here. They may be down there. If they ever find my potatoes, that's what I was worried about. They get in them and go to rooting. If they ever find that row of potatoes, they'd clean them up in about 2 nights. Oh well. Let's go back up toward the house.
See something?
I didn't see nothing, but I didn't want to see nothing.
That's why you shoot at the pistol.
Well, if there'd have been something out there, we'd have needed it. What do you think about that bug light?
Like what we call a bug.
All right, look. Can I have my... Here, you go shine, see what you find. That'll give him something to occupy him. So anyway... David, you never know. I had Jonah with me. I'd have took it and I'd have juked him right in the ear. No. I tell y'all what I need to be doing while I'm sitting here talking at y'all is I had to whittle on something today, and there was a mite dull. So let me show y'all a trick. This is them diamond stones. Yeah, now you can tell. The secret is to spit on that thing a little bit. You're actually supposed to put water on it. Well, I figured my spit was waters. So I need to sharpen old Jonah up, him. Oh, Brody, did you find the critter?
Lightning bug.
Lightning bug. Well, that'll work. Nana's in there. Let me have the light out here. Well, he has deboed my light. Y'all know about deboing something? Here come Debo. He'll run the battery down now, and the other ones is down in the shed. Y'all, we got a long ride tomorrow. Matthew, I don't think we've got a bunch of pigs. I think there's probably like 2 or 3 down there that's coming up here rambling around, is what I think. But now, them 2 or 3 come up here a couple of years ago. Now, they killed them 2 or 3 a couple of years ago. Somebody did later on, but they wiped the corn patch out in a few days. I'm talking about right about the time it was getting ready to pick, they cleaned it up. I mean, there wasn't enough left to get seed. And it was 1.5 acres. Well, about 1 acre. It might not have been quite. It was about 1 acre, though. And I mean, they raided it. And that's what me and Daddy have been discussing. I just planted all my corn, and he's wanting to plant corn down there where them oats is. So, Lord Morris, good night. Glad you hung in here with us for a little while. Oh, Donald, it is way too hot to build a fire. It's still right about 80 degrees. It may be a hair under 80. It is just hot. I need a pan of ice water to set my feet in. It's liable to start steaming. I can tell you it'd turn dark real. You wouldn't be able to see the bottom of it in a minute. I gotta go get a bath and wash these nasty feet. I've been barefooted all day, wading in these stickers out here. These sand spurs, you just have to stop. You can stop and take your knife and just rake the bottom of the foot and rake them all out. I always got stickers I gotta dig out of my foot. Put them to sleep and in the freezer. That's what I'm talking about. Donald, I got to do the driving tomorrow. I'll be the chauffeur. I'll be like that fellow that was riding around, with a chauffeur making his speeches. I got to drive tomorrow. So I'll be driving from in the morning all the way to Smith Lake. My dad and mom are riding with us and Brody, so we'll be on the road. I'm pulling a boat, so we're going to take back roads the whole way. I won't be running the interstate and going through Birmingham like most folks. I like to get on them back 2-lane roads, take my time, because my boat, it's in good shape. Trailer's in good shape. It's got axles, grease on the hubs and stuff. But that don't mean you can't have a problem, so I got a spare, and I don't want to pull that boat. I'm going to strap a kayak on it. We're going to have to put a fish cooker in the boat. So I don't want to be driving 90 miles an hour with it, in other words. So we're going to take our time. So I'll probably be on the road from 10 o'clock till it'll probably take me to nearly 3 to get over there, I figure. It's probably about 4 hours, I would guess. Wild pig ton barbacoa. I got a beef tongue down in the refrigerator I gotta cook sometimes. Take snacks. That's right, I'm taking some snacks. I'm taking some snacks. Ryan Foster, glad you joined in, hung out with us. To Bailey Bridge, that's on Smith Lake, Bill. Tongue tacos. I heard John something about fajitas or something. I need a good beef tongue recipe. I got one in the freezer down there. I need to cook sometime. I figure cooking it on the Blackstone probably be the best thing, but I have never, never cooked a beef tongue. Bill, what's them striped bass over there like? I have got a host of bass fishing stuff, but I don't know what I need to rig up and start off with. I've never fished much over there. I mean, are they similar to a largemouth as far as bait? I don't reckon we have striped here much. Now I think they are introducing them into some lakes here, best I know. Goldfish. Oh, you talking about hooking up with some live bait? Uh-huh. I heard that lake 200 foot deep in places. I guess that'd be close to the dam. Oh yeah. Old John would take your hair right off the arm. That's good enough for me. Roscoe is patiently saying, And then here's the reason this belt is so long. Watch back, buddy. That right there, clean that edge up real good. £17. Woo! I might need more than my 15-pound big game trilene line I like so good, reckon. 17 pounds. I bet I couldn't turn him. Top water baits early in the morning. Oh, I like top water. I bet 17 pounds I could get all three treble hooks off of a devil's horse hung in him good. I might need to put my needle nose pliers in the box. I think they in the boat. My boat is pretty well loaded out. I ain't even got a tackle bag. Well, I put my crappie fishing bag in there. But all my bass stuff's just in trays, and then I got a lot of plastic baits just in Ziploc bags, shoved off in the box. Got more rods than I can shake a stick at, but I brought rods for me and for Brody and for my brother-in-law in case. I think he's got some fishing poles. I don't know. Usually when they come up here though, he don't have one, but now he ain't never planning on fishing when he gets up here, so that may be the reason for that. So minnows and rapalas. Well, I got most of that. Used to boil tongue and slice it for sandwiches. Make that beef tongue. Well, CJ, if I can get a good recipe, here's my deal. A lot of times I'm skeptical on making a video on something I have never cooked before. So, like the other night, I don't remember what it was we experimented with. I cooked something out here that I'd never cooked before, and I didn't film it. I wanted to get out here and cook. So I didn't film any of that, but, if I got a good recipe, I mean, I don't mind filming it. We'll film, do a video on it, and hope for the best. I'm okay with that. I got a green fishing light that clamps on a battery. Do I need to carry it? I don't know. I doubt I'm gonna be out on that lake at night because we're gonna have so much stuff going on. All of us at that cabin, kids and y'all. I done seen a picture of it. The set of stairs that goes from the cabin down to the dock has got over 100 steps on it, or right about 100. It's about 100 steps on there. So ain't gonna be running back and forth up and down to the dock no heap, or else I'll be washed. In fact, if I get down there, I may have to spend a day down there to get my energy to come back up. Jason, did you use just the blooms or did you use the whole plant? I picked some the other day and then I never did do nothing with it. Broil it in the oven. Season it up good and just put it on broil. I tell you, Bill, I got a half of mine to get me an inner tube, hook it to the back of my boat and just ride and play. It's gonna be Memorial Day weekend. Ain't gonna be so many boats up and down that lake. Probably ain't gonna be able to fish, but just a little while right after daylight. When all the drunks get sobered up enough to get back in their boat, you won't be able to fish. And I'm taking a kayak. We're gonna have a host of kayaks over there, so I may. And I'm gonna film some over there. I just don't know what all I'll be able to post once I get over there. That's gonna be the leaves and flowers. Good night, CC Clark. Is that where he's fishing? I follow him, Jerome, on Lucas Black. I follow him on Instagram, and I guess I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel. I ain't seen a lot of YouTube content, but I see his reels pretty regular, and I didn't know exactly. I knew they'd been tournament fishing. I couldn't watch him pull that treble hook out of his leg the other day. I seen him going for that, and I was like, oh, I don't want to think about that. I know what I'd done. I'd have cut that barb off and backed it out. That's what I'd have done. I'd have took a needle nose pliers to that barb on that treble hook. Thank you, Donnie Hill. We'll be as safe as possible. We're gonna ride with the good Lord. Yeah, Jerome, I like old Lucas Black. I've liked him since he was on TK and Mike. Y'all know Lucas Black was on Outdoors with Mike and TK. I mean TK and Mike. TK and Mike taught him how to hunt. 77 in North Florida. Hey, it's something about that right here. I'm looking at the thermometer over there and there's a glare on it, but it is right below 80, so we still high 70s here. But there is a slight bit of air moving, not a lot. And oh man, y'all ought to see this moon coming up out here. Look at this full moon. I bet y'all can't, look, y'all see that moon back there? Right there. It looks little in that camera, but it is about as pretty as the moon ever been. Y'all don't need to look at me no way. We'll watch a moon rise over there. I was thinking about going and get me something to drink. It's orange and hazy around it. What you do is you take your phone and you put it in night mode and you pull that dial back down it'll be on 3 seconds when you start. Move it back to 10 seconds and put your phone in the tripod. If you can hold it still and ain't doing a lot of wiggling, you can hold it by hand. I mean, it ain't got to be perfect. But put it in the tripod makes it easier, and let it take 10 seconds to take the picture, and man, your phone will take, especially iPhone. I'm assuming Android will too. I don't have Android. and it takes good night pictures. I ain't been long learned how to do that. So I may get me a good picture of that when we get off the live. The only problem is it'll be done on up here and be smaller. So anyway, I may need to go get me something cold. I wish I had a bottle of water, but I think I done drank all of them up. And I didn't buy none when I went to the store the other day. Local Life Outdoors be fishing Sandy in South Carolina this weekend. Yeah, y'all will do good. You always do when y'all go. I struggled to catch any fish up here the other day. The next morning, I finally got on some pretty good fish. Figured out where the crappie was and got some. But late that evening, I caught a good grinnell. But I can catch grinnell, especially if I got some cut bait. It ain't hard to do. But I'll tell y'all what I've got to do. I've either got to buy me a canoe seat with a back, or I've got to figure out how to build a good one that I can let sit on. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. If somebody's got any real good ideas for one that I can make, I'll make it, do a video on it. But otherwise, I may just buy one. I hadn't looked at them though. I imagine somebody's got a video on making a good one, most likely. And but I just, as much time as I spend, it's good to be able to just lean back and relax. And you can't do that in this. We had a P-row built one time that we built an Adirondack style that curved back, come up to your shoulders. Man, that thing was comfortable. And we cut it off so you could paddle, you wasn't hitting. It was kind of narrow, it wasn't about that wide. And it worked good, but that boat come out so heavy you couldn't, it was hard to drag around. It was a P-row. Man, Local Life, I appreciate it. And y'all, if you ain't watching Local Life Outdoors, he also has a channel and does some good fishing videos and such. Y'all need to check his channel out if you like the kind of fishing that I do. You'll like what he's doing, I think. He's up in Carolina. You in North Carolina or South Carolina? I can't remember. I know so many people from different places now, y'all. It all runs. I know too many people now. It's getting. Put your ballpark seat in the canoe to type it for. I know what you're talking about. That ain't a half bad idea. South Carolina. Yeah. Yeah, and what I have watched, I don't get to watch a lot of anybody's channels. I wish I could watch everybody that watches me's channel. The fact of the matter is just not possible. And as much as I spend editing, I don't watch a lot of stuff. And a lot of time here lately, when I come in and have turned the TV on, I don't know how, but I got on a Fred Sanford kick. I've watched Fred Sanford call Lamont a dummy so many times it ain't even funny. I felt kind of guilty about it one time. He didn't like Julio's goat, not one bit. My coffee has done. I don't need no more coffee though. That is my biggest thing right now. It is. I'm going to get me something to drink. Hang on. There was some Diet Mountain Dews in there. I started to get one of them, but I got the last bottle of water. I wanted water. I like water. When it gets hot like this in the summer, which it ain't even really got hot yet, but when we start getting there, I drink a lot of water, but I genuinely like water. Thus, the reason I like the Grail for what I do. I've had a lot of people ask me about that Grail. I have not used it a lot, but that's what I took the Grail, and I had 2 water bottles with me, and then I had my canteen, my clean canteen stainless steel water bottle full of water. And that was all the water I took, which I never had to replenish it. Probably should have. I used it to make coffee. And I probably didn't drink near about enough water while I was down there. But the I don't have to boil the water. It'll filter it out pretty good. And y'all, I watched Clay Hayes do his video the other day on using them grapevines to filter the water. I want to experiment with that. I don't know if a lot of y'all watch Clay Hayes. When I was trying to learn bow building, I watched a lot of his videos, and I really like the guy. I don't watch a lot of his stuff anymore, not because I don't like him, but because I don't have time. But I did see a thing about water, and I was very curious about it. And he took dirty, nasty water and put it in a jar and stuck grapevines over in it, the wild grapevines, and then pulled them down into another jar, and it siphoned the water through the grapevine down it and filtered it out crystal clear. Go watch his video on that. I don't want to take his credit for it, but I've seen him do it. I want to experiment with for myself. I just want to see how well it works. I also want to just cut some grapevines and tie them upside down and put it in a jar and see how much just water comes out of that grapevine, because it already has a lot of water in it. So I'm curious as to whether it siphoned the water or it just drained water. I mean, I guess he had to have seen the water go down and one. I don't know. I seen him do it, and I really wanted to experiment with that. So at some point, I'm going to go back here, and I've got a bunch of them old grapevines and some old. I got plenty of nasty water, so I'll see for myself if it works. Becky Horse, see ya. Thank you for hanging with us for a little while. We ain't gonna be on no great long while longer. Dogs I Have Known. Jerome Williams, that is a really good album. I like when he's talking about going to get that little dog that they give Katie. He said we went in that hurricaneator. He said it was raining shoe mouth deep. He said the windshield wipers is flopping, but you can't see nothing. Oh, Lord. Ron said we got 8 gallons. Good deal. I'm gonna experiment with that. I am gonna check it out. But if by chance y'all don't watch Clay Hayes, I would suggest going to watch that particular video just for the education, because he put a lot of work into the science of it and explained it. And I was actually working on a knife down there while I watched it, so I didn't even like sit there and hear everything he said. I just seen that it worked. So I go watch that, and I don't want to be guilty of stealing the man's idea and his video and his work just to redo it on a video. But I probably am going to do a video on it at some point, just so the knowledge gets shared, because that's what I'm about, is making sure everybody learns something along the way. And it ain't like, hey, I'm smarter than everybody else. It's just, I just learned it myself. So you see what I'm saying? Local life, I do want to come up there and go fishing sometimes. I really want to get in one of them little boats and try it out. I want to know how that thing works. I could have really enjoyed that little electric boat down here in the swamp. I mean, I believe I could get a good bit of use out of it. Do they do well in muddy water? I mean, does the mud... We got a lot of muddy water. Yeah, we call them muscadines, wild grapes, Algernon. That's what it looked like he was using, was just old wild muscadine vines. He called it a wild grape. We have the scuppernongs and the muscadines. In the wild, most of it is muscadines. He said don't use the poison ivy vines. Now, I don't know why they wouldn't work, but he said no. Boy, you know that'd mess somebody up. Y'all be careful when you're fooling vines. You know, I ain't seen a lot of poison ivy vines that got real big. And the thing that baffled me is when he said poison ivy in his video, he showed a poison oak leaf. I don't know what that was about. But it was a leaf of 3, so I always heard leaves of 3, let them be. Well, my local life, my thing is the water is muddy, but our banks are just mud. And if I gotta drag it up, like down, I drag that canoe in and out of the bank. I gum that bottom up with water, and I'm curious of how the. I'll be honest with you, I thought about putting a battery in my big canoe, my 16-foot canoe, and clamping that trolling motor that I got for the back of my boat right there on the side, and just, bzz, you know it'll work. I can modify me a 2x4 on there to clamp it to, and sit right there and just, yeah, it'd work. I don't know how I might go about getting it right up there at the side of me. I might just mount me a 2x4 right up against the side and just clamp it this way, and then I can turn the motor sideways. Yeah. Yeah, they mudfish and scaly cat, and down in Louisiana they shoe pit. They dogfish in some places. I think part of Alabama is where they call scaly cat. Uh, in fact, that guy from Longbow Banjo or whatever he is over in Alabama, I heard him call them scaly cat. Uh, I don't know what else. They have got a host of names. We call them grinnell here. I think grinnell extends up into parts of Arkansas, but as you go south, they more commonly, I think, known as dogfish and mudfish around most places. But they're shoe picked in South Louisiana. And I've heard scaly cat over in parts of Alabama. Something else. I'm trying to think of what the other time I heard. Modified a weed eater into a trolling motor once. I've heard them turning them weed eaters into go devils. I thought about building me one time, but hadn't done it. One thing, my big canoe that's on the trailer, I have got to do some work on that trailer. The wheels, I need a whole new set of tires and wheels for it. I don't use it because I have to air the tires up every time I get ready to fool with it. Drives me nuts. Well, I killed that bottle of water. Ricky Johnson, first time from Louisiana. Well, welcome to the family, my friend. We just have a good time chit chat on live and talk about just whatever comes to mind. And we supporting John Deere Power Wheels out here in Brody. Brody drove his tractor's dead as a hammer. He pulled it over. I had drug it out of the way where it wouldn't be in the camera, and he got on it and pulled it right back over there. So he's got some good use out of that. That little white flower bushes that usually grow near poison ivy is antidotes, whatever I heard. Algernon, let me tell you this. Now, I ain't gonna call out no names, which I don't even remember the name, but a friend of mine went on a plant walk, paid a woman. She does plant videos, sells medicinal plants, sells medicines, tinctures, teaches medicinal plants. She proceeded to tell them that the creeping Virginia, you know, it grows in with poison ivy a lot. She said, oh, it's the antidote for poison ivy. It'll cure it. No. And creeping Virginia has no known medicinal qualities whatsoever that I know of. He said she also misidentified several plants. He said, I took pictures of them. She'd say this. He said, and I went home and done research. He said, he said, that I had done seen it, that wasn't what that was. He said, I got home and was Googling it, looking pictures. He said, she was nowhere near right. So, reason I'm telling you this ain't to bust somebody out. Be careful where your information comes from. Everybody that jumps up and says, hey, I like medicinal plants, and I'm going to tell y'all, don't know what they're talking about. You know, be careful where your information comes from. Now, that I ain't saying what you're saying is wrong. I don't know what white flower you're talking about, and it very well could be. I don't know. I do know jewelweed will take care of poison ivy. Plantain will help cure poison ivy, get it dried up off the skin. And that being said, there's several plants that'll work for that. I mean, when you start studying medicinal plants, you find there's a lot of them that work. I started this afternoon printing off the orange copy of Herbs for You by Dr. Howard. So I'll have that book in where it'll be printed off to where I can actually read it. It's hard for me to read stuff online. If you want to learn more about old books and medicinal plants, somebody on one of my videos shared this with me, and y'all type in the book you want to read, if it's an older book, and type in the author's name and type PDF afterwards. There is a website called Online Archives. And you can join up and get a membership, and you can view a lot of books, like check them out for an hour at a time. And it's got a lot of old books on there that you can read. And there is the medical botany old book on there. You can read through, got a lot of information in it. You can read them for free. My problem is it's hard for me to study stuff in a book online. So, Kyle, that might be something you're interested in. It's Online Archives. But now you can just go to the Google search bar, type in medical botany PDF, and it should pull up the book. What I've done is I Googled it and got the medical botany book is like a $2,300 book on Abe Books, old book, and there ain't a lot of them, and they're really expensive. So you can read it for free on the internet. So, Randall Ross, now you got a point on that about it. Yeah, local life. The fin on the boat, that skag helped a lot. Now, it did not make it to like where you could just throw your paddle down and it'd just float straight forever. It ain't that. But before that boat is so rounded, as soon as I let go of my paddle, stop paddling, it would just start trying to spin. Well, it don't do that no more. It pretty well will, as long as I got some perpetual motion, it'll pretty well go where it's pointed. Now, it'll start drifting a little bit, but I can totally deal with it now. The bigger fin would probably track straighter longer. My problem, and I failed to say this in the video, the reason I did not want to put the larger fin is because it is set to be knocked off by log, and I didn't want to be constantly having to get out and put it back in there every time it hung the bottom and got knocked off. Especially if I got a cooler in there with fish in it and tackleberry and a whole bunch of stuff. It's one thing if you're sitting in a kayak and all you got is one fishing pole and a paddle and a pocket full of baits, and that's all you got, then you can hop out, flip it over, and stick it back in there. Ain't no big deal. And when I'm in the kayak, I got a lot less gear, so I may put that big fin on the kayak. But it did work for the canoe. You know, y'all talking about that, I have heard that somewhere along the way. I ain't never tried to say it on here because the reason is if I got on here and said, hey, if you eat a leaf of it along, you'll get immune to it, somebody would eat it and it'd kill them. and it'd be my fault. So I have heard that. I don't know whether it be the truth. I could see where that would work, provided you're not one of those people that's sensitive and it has a great effect on you right off the bat. JL3, that's hilarious. We got a lot of that Virginia creeper all around here, and if I don't weed eat, it'll take over the yard. But it's all down in them pine trees back here behind the house. It grows thick on them. Jason McAllister, when I made this last batch of, I was going through my freezer getting my garden seeds all out, and I found all my elderberries I picked last fall. They were still on the stems. So I just took all of it, ice, everything that was on it, and just stuck it off in the pot and boiled it. I didn't just boil it hard, but I got it simmered warm for about an hour. I left it, it condensed down a little bit. And then I cut up some garlic I had and threw it in there, and I infused garlic into my elderberry juice. And then I put a little bit of sugar in mine. I didn't have any honey to spare at the moment. It would have been better with some goldenrod honey in it. I'd have put a whole jar in it if I'd have had it. But I've got it in my refrigerator, and I just take me a swallow out of the jar every now and then. And it's got a garlicky strong, but it ain't bad. But I mean, medicine ain't supposed to be good like fruit juice, so I'm okay. I can drink it. Appalachian Explorers, good night. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening from Belize. How do you say that? Do you say Belize? Down south of Mississippi, we say Belize, but now we say Mississippi too, not Mississippi. So I could be bad wrong, is it? But it's hard for you to type out how to pronounce it, so we ain't even gonna go there. But good to have you on this evening. But anyway, y'all, Jason may be interested in that book, that online archives. You can pull up any old book. You can pull them up on there and watch them. Oh, I heard y'all may see one of them lights go by. I see vehicles, or I hear vehicles. You see y'all's alien light come up down there in a minute. But anyway, and he ain't got all the pond pier lights ain't on tonight. Um,
What was you looking at, Dad?
Gable Reeves. Who am I texting? All these names will be run together on me. Tyler, I'll be both in back after them in probably a well. What was you doing?
Get me a drink?
The reason I turned the camera around, I didn't get it in time. He was climbed up on the shelf, reached up in there and getting it. I had to move him drinks down the shelf because he'll be pulled something down on his head. I just seen that. I knew my drinks has disappeared, and he done come and got him a Mountain Dew. That's the last thing he needs to get all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Oh my, yeah. I'm with you, Mike. I got you. Yes, sir. Took me a minute, Gable, but now I know who you are. We all on. I'm with you now. Yes, sir. I went, y'all, and he's talking about his dad, Mike Reeves. I went to deliver some pottery and met him, and we sat down and ate chicken livers and hot sauce, and they had, I don't know, I think I had turnip greens and cornbread, and I don't know, a little old restaurant. We sat and talked about an hour, had a good conversation. He likes to catfish. Yes, sir. I will text him. Oh, the June bugs raising cane. Yeah, that's probably what you hearing some of. In fact, that is a cicada I hear screaming. I don't know, that may be a cricket. Hard to tell, but it's our stuff just starts getting tuned up here. And right here where I'm at, I think I said it before, but the cicada invasion has not happened right here. Now it has been within miles of us, so I don't know what the deal is here, but the Survival Buzz, Oklahoma. Welcome. Welcome to the family. Tyler, what part of Louisiana are you in? I am planning at some point. Brody is in love with alligator hunting, and I am seriously threatening taking him down to South Louisiana to uh, Bruce Mitchell's alligator farm if I can, because I would like to meet Bruce Mitchell. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Mitchell, and his Facebook, he does cooking on Facebook, and Bruce Mitchell strikes me a lot like I am, just good old country boy. Money ain't gonna change him. He's gonna be what he may buy more cooking stuff and have more Blackstones on the porch than you can shake a stick at. He's still the same old guy that loves, and I respect that. That's what I like. That's one of the reasons I like Clay Hayes. He's still country, just but Lafayette, yeah. I have been in Lafayette some. If we get to bring Brody down that way, I'll let y'all know when I'm coming south. I will be while I'm working on an order of pottery for Gulfport. So in 3-4 weeks, depending on, I'll get started on that order Monday. It'll take about a week and a half, probably a week to make it. It'll take a week or so for it to dry, and we'll get it paid. So we're looking at least 3 weeks. I'll be going to around Gulfport, being Long Beach and such as that then. So I like when I go off. I don't have a lot. Sometimes I go deliver and we in a hurry. I got to go deliver and get right back, and I don't have time to do nothing. But I'm gonna. I like to, if I've got time, to try to meet some people. And y'all, June 2nd, preach at my home church. My pastor is gonna be. He's got to go preach for somebody else, and asked me to preach here at home. So I've had some people local that say, hey, if you're ever preaching, I want to know. I will be preaching at my home church, North Bend, the Sunday morning service at 10 o'clock, June 2nd, I think it is the date. So I throw some of that stuff out there for those of you that are, everybody ain't. So, and those that ain't, I totally understand. The Tallahatchie River, that's the one Billy Joe jumped in, ain't it? Love the bushcraft stuff. Are we gonna get into some more stuff? Gable Reeves, I'm gonna make an assumption here. Mike Reed is a man that I trust and love. Have watched Mike Reed when he had his big channel going and all the stuff he done. I really wish he would just stick with his big channel, and because he had I do know these people. I talked to somebody today, said I didn't know he started another channel, and I got him hooked back up to his new channel. But he's been doing some reviews for Beavercraft knives. I've got a Beavercraft axe, and I love it. I genuinely say, hey, Beavercraft made a good axe. It is made in Ukraine, I think is where they're made. They're sending me a larger axe. I've got to do a video on whenever it gets here. I haven't seen it yet, but they have some bushcraft knives, and Mike Reed says they're a good knife. I would say, if that's the case, if Mike Reed says it is, it's probably the truth, because he is a trustworthy guy. aside from that, I make all my knives. I don't really have any knives I have bought from anybody. So it's hard for me to sit here and say what company I would go buy a knife. I think Dave Canterbury's, the knives that he's selling would be a good practical knife to get. You're looking at $100 a knife, but now, my opinion, if you just want a toy to play with, go to Smoky Mountain Knife Works and look through there and pick out the cheapest one you find, and you'll probably be good. I'll also say this, you look at Smoky Mountain Knife Works and pick out probably about any knife in there, and it's going to do what you want to do with it. But if you want a handmade knife, you're going to spend $100 to $150. There's just no way around it. This knife here, this is Jonah. You see the size of it. Thin blade. I borrowed this concept from one of Dave Canterbury's knives that he had in his hand. I seen it, I was like, I like that knife style. So I did not copy it exactly. His point is a little different, and of course his has got thicker blades and all, but I like just the simplicity of this handle. Now, the way it got its name, Jonah, for those of you that are new, I was running limb lines last year and dropped it, had it laying on my paddle cutting up deer liver, and grabbed the paddle. Brody was in the front of the canoe. It was drifting up close to where the limb hook was, and I grabbed the paddle to pull the boat out away from the limb hook. When I did, this went off in the water. Well, it stayed in the river 3 days. I looked for it with a magnet every day, and I couldn't find it. And the third day I found it, stuck to it, and I got it back. So it spent 3 nights at the bottom of the river down there. And so I named it Jonah. But it is a practical knife. I sell this knife when I do make some, but I don't take orders because it gets overwhelming, y'all. I'm just one man just making knives as a hobby. That ain't what I do for a living. And I don't temper these. In other words, these saw blades that I'm using, and I've got a limited supply of them, are already at a 62 Rockwell. So I grind these slowly as to not lose the temper in the edge, and I run them just like that. It takes me longer to grind them. Probably what I need to do, really and truly, is take this and stick it in the forge after I get it cut out, and anneal it and soften it and grind it all out, heat it back up, quench it, and then stick it in the oven for about 2 hours at 400 degrees. And by doing that, that's what I did with my meat cleaver. And it probably, but the thing is, I do it this way, and it's still a good knife. This one has not been tempered, nothing. I just ground it sharp and went to using it, and it has served me well. I have to sharpen it along, but now, y'all, I don't mind sharpening a knife. It don't take me long to get it back to a razor's edge, and I have used it. But as far as the practicalness of a knife, something like this is all you need. Now, I love Bowie knives. I love big knives. My only problem with big, large Bowie knives is when I get in the truck, when I get in the buggy, when I get on the canoe. It's a big old knife on my side that hanging on stuff, and it can be a nuisance then. But as far as using a knife, a big knife has a lot of practical uses. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't need all that. And you don't. But I can find more uses for a big knife than I can a lot of other stuff. So, I mean, with a big Bowie knife, I can do a lot of limb chopping. And, I mean, I've heard some... In fact, I heard Dave Canterbury said if he's watching a knife review and they go to chopping with it, he turns it off. I'm going to be honest with you, I can see a lot more reasons to chop with a knife than I can to baton with a knife. I really, in my mind, as far as splitting firewood up, I see no reason for batoning a knife. It's silly to me. Now I can see if you've got some kindling and you need to split it up into small pieces. I can see taking and batoning a little bit of that. But taking a stick of wood this big around and splitting it up into firewood to start a fire, we got too many down limbs. If you're in the woods, everywhere I ever been, there was limbs laying everywhere. You just break up a bunch of twigs and start your fire, and then you can burn your bigger stuff in too. So this knife will really do everything you need to do. But now if I'm going to okay, say I'm going to cut down some cane to make job poles. I'm making some stuff out of saplings. There's a lot more reason for me to be chopping saplings with a Bowie knife than batoning stove wood up with a small knife. So anyway, that's my rant on knives. Jason, you talking about Billy Joe? He jumped off that Tallahatchie Bridge. There's a Sardis Lake in southeast Oklahoma. Didn't know that. Bill Valentine, no, we don't do any trade shows anymore. We did market in Biloxi the first, right after I quit metal roofing. We went down there and set up and picked up 12 stores, the first dash out of the bucket. And we come home and started doing wholesale pottery for them. And then they found us from Germantown, a store called the Gift Horse, which is in Memphis. And they bought our pottery, and when our pottery went on sale in their store, we picked up all kind of stores up through West Tennessee and North Mississippi, and that has took care of us. I have not pushed to try to grow pottery doing shows. Right now, what I'd rather do is make cups and make smaller stuff and sell it online at retail price versus taking stuff to shows to pick up more stores. And then we have done tisk the season here at Christmas time a few times, but it's such a hassle. And I have found a lot of my big bowls and big pieces of pottery I'm so proud of I made don't really sell good. People want Christmas ornaments. You can sell all the round Christmas ornaments you can make almost. And coffee mugs I've sold every coffee mug I ever make. Now, people are picky over coffee mugs. A lot of people are real ticky about when they put it to the lip how it feels. And that don't never bother me, so I ain't crucial. I'm more picky about the handle on a mug if it feels good. And I kept the worst one of the bunch. I've sold all the good ones. I'll probably scrap that cup I've drank it out of at some point and get me a better one, but Philip S. Greer, this is made from a saw blade that we cut metal tubing with. It's a 14-inch circular saw blade with carbide teeth on it, and they're a little bit thicker, just a little bit thicker than a skill saw blade. They're not the same metal as a skill saw blade, and they're Tenru blades is a name brand, and you can Google the website. Those saw blades are at a 62 Rockwell from the factory. So I don't have to do anything to it but grind it out. As long as when I'm grinding it, I do it by hand and I take my time. I dip it in water, I grind it, I dip it in water, I grind it, and it takes a while. But I don't never let it turn a blue spot on it. If you're sitting there grinding and it starts turning blue, well, you've just lost the temper in that part of the metal. So, and sometimes I let them lose the temper right in the tip. And I let it do it on purpose, because if somebody's going to stick that tip in something and go to prying on it, it's going to snap right there. And if that loses its sharpness, that's the last place you really worry about it. This belly of it's where 90% of the cutting is, and that's where you want it to hold that edge. So I, that's kind of the way my thought process and the reason I do what I do. Yeah, Keith, I've had some knives like that. They got such a good. If you ever get it sharp, it'll stay sharp. You can cut steel with it, just about it. But now, if you ever fool around, let it get dull, you're a week and a half getting it back sharp. I don't like that. I like to be able to. In fact, this one I have got a rock, one of those blue stones. You can't see this. I what they call pimped my sheath. You see under here, I got a basically turn that down. I got a ferro rod. It's got a piece of an old bicycle inner tube. On the inside, there is some Gorilla Tape under there, and I don't know if y'all can see this. It's got a needle in there, and then this is a sharpening stone that I have just wedged in there. So it'll. And then I've got this string is hooked into this, and then it's looped through the belt loop up here. Now, the ones I'm making are stitched up this way as well as around here. And that way I don't know, I didn't like the way this hangs out. That's why I quit making them that way. But I don't mind sharpening, so I got a sharpener with my knife all the time. So if I'm off doing something and I'm in the field dressing a deer in the woods and all of a sudden it ain't cutting just like I want, I don't mind, put an edge on it and go back to work. I think that is the smartest thing. If you're gonna have a knife, you need a way with the sheath to keep it sharp, something practical. So that I've got stuck in there is one of these that I broke these off, and then I just hold it by the piece. See, I just took this part that's very thin and stuck it up in that sheath, and that, I think I gave $18 for this at a hardware store, and you can get them at Smoky Mountain. They sell them up there. I don't know where. You probably get on Amazon and order them, same thing. They probably can order them without the handles. I hadn't never been, y'all talk about the Tallahatchie River. I hadn't never been on it. I have crossed it several times. You'd see the bridge sign, and of course you think about the song, but I've noticed that there's some pretty water up there. As far as I've ever ventured off fishing much, we went to Ferguson Lake up on the Mississippi River and fished it one time. I fished the Sunflower River over here a few times, and I've been over to the Tom Bigby and fished at Pickinsville. Is the only stretch of it that I have fished. I had full intentions to go stay at now I can't think of the name of the lake. Lake up there at before you get to Pickwick Lake, it's on Natchez Trace. But the Tom Bigby River runs through it. Beautiful lake up there. And I never could make all that stuff happen. I couldn't get it. I guess I had too much stuff I wanted to do, and I just couldn't make everything happen. Well, y'all, it is almost 10 o'clock. We're going to have to shut it down. I think most everybody else done went to sleep, done had enough of it. Bay Springs Lake, that's it. Nancy said it's almost 11 here. You over in the east. Local Life, thank you. And yeah, I know a lot of y'all are still there. Hang with me all night long, y'all. I really appreciate it. y'all, I'll say it 100 more times. I've got some of the greatest people following on this channel that there is out there watching YouTube videos. And I want y'all to know, y'all, I really do appreciate every one of you watching. I appreciate your comments. Even when you just comment hi, it's getting to where I get a lot of comments, and there's times I'm not able to reply to every comment. But I promise y'all I read every comment. And I try to put a heart by all of them to let you know I have read that comment. And sometimes if I'm riding, ain't doing nothing, sitting here in the morning drinking coffee, I go through and reply to a lot of them, and sometimes I get halfway down the list and something comes up. So if I reply to somebody's comment and not yours, it ain't out of prejudice or for any certain reason. It's just that I run out of time usually when I'm going through stuff, but I genuinely read every comment and appreciate them. We don't always agree on things. We ain't supposed to, y'all. We still can love each other even when we disagree. So, with that being said, I love y'all. I thank y'all for watching. It means a lot to me to have people watching. And if y'all didn't like what I was doing and didn't appreciate it and didn't keep coming back and watching, I'd probably lose the motivation to keep doing it. But it's because I get so many great comments and people that'll hang with me for 3 hours on a live and just chit chat about knives and fishing and cooking and whatever that comes up. Booger lights in the background, you know. It's a lot of fun to me, and that's what motivates me to keep doing it, keep putting out videos. I enjoy doing this, y'all. I really do. You don't make no money doing it, so you got to love it to do it. But I have met some wonderful people. I mean, it's like Gabriel Reeves talking about his dad. I sat and talked with him for an hour up there at a restaurant. Wonderful conversation. I've sat today and talked on the phone to Don Lanier over in Alabama. Me and him has made really good friends, and he's invited me back over there to do a hunt this fall if everything goes well and the election don't tear the country apart. I've got invites to go to places on the coast fishing, to go to South Carolina, to go to, I mean, everywhere. I could go anywhere, South Louisiana, and meet up with people. And y'all, that is because there is wonderful people out there. Y'all are some of the greatest people, and I want y'all to know I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted when you comment and just say, hey, or hey, I watched, or whatever. I get so many people say, I love your shows and I enjoy watching it. Y'all, that's what it's all about. And I just want to inspire you to get out, live life. And I know there's a lot of you guys that maybe retired, maybe disabled and not able to get out in the outdoors. And that's why I don't mind clamping a camera in the front of a canoe and just paddling down the river and letting you see the water. It's peaceful. That swamp is a beautiful swamp, y'all, and I love that swamp. I love being in it. I laid in a hammock the other night, y'all, and I really, my phone was a blessing that my phone was dead, because I just laid there and looked up at the moon and listened to the hoot owls hollering and thought, you know, this is the greatest thing. This swamp is a great place. A lot of people scared of it. A lot of people, oh, I'm afraid to sleep down there at night, and I ain't afraid not one bit. I love that place. And that's why I turn the camera on, y'all. So long as y'all enjoy watching it, I'm going to keep filming it. So thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight and watching. I love y'all. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.